Good evening, everybody. I had a coffee here somewhere, and it's missing. So I'm going to be right back. All right, good evening, everybody. We are back with Crusader Kings 2 tonight, but we're going to be doing something a little bit different. So if you can actually give me a second, I was meaning to message somebody who is new to the game and just see if I can get them into it. Something happened to the save file between last night and today, and it's been a pretty rough go of things as far as school is concerned. So I didn't really have any time to decide whether or not the game was still salvageable or still worth playing after what happened. So I'll briefly explain what went on a little bit later into the cast, but I do want to take a second and give my comrade in arms a chance to stop by if they wanted. So just going to play with my volume settings a little bit because it feels like the game is very quiet. Although I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing because I think normally I get overpowered a bit by the audio. Hope everybody's doing well tonight. Endors, great to see you again. So I'm holding off on a second to give some credit. All right. It's also worth mentioning. Actually, you know what? Let's do this properly. T. Clark, how you doing? Good to see you again too. All right, so this is probably gonna crush my bandwidth like a pop can, but let's see if I can get away with this. You may notice that we've had a few people follow the stream since last time around, which means we were at 419 last stream, which means we missed the notorious number for which my province is very well known. Not that I partake myself, but I was going to try and do something ridiculous if I could. Let's see if I can drop the resolution to make this work out. Your friends have been spoiling you today. What did your friends do to you, T. Clark? All right, I'm just going to have to mute the stream for a second. For the past few days. Okay. You gotta fill me in, T. Clark. What's been going on? Sorry, this must be really quiet for everybody, but all right. I think I got what I needed. All right. I think the best way to handle this, I'm actually just gonna load up the new game. So basically, the story about what happened last time was after the stream, I was under the impression that I had paused the game, but it seems like for an extended period of time at the end of last session, the game was unpaused for an extended period of time. 2 revolutions started, and were basically on their way to completing around the time that I became aware of it. I went back to the computer, and in addition, I sort of started mopping one up. The other one was kind of too far gone for me to do anything about it. But on top of that, the ruler died, which basically made the other revolution automatically win. So where the Holy Roman Empire used to take like this entire area, I now have probably less than a fifth of that land. So there's a side of me that kind of wants to try and make the save work. There's a side of me that kind of wants to play through that and see if I can recover it. But I mean, there's a war still going on in that game. I want to sort of see how that one sorts out. If I can stabilize the kingdom at that point, I will resume next week with the playthrough in the much diminished Holy Roman Empire. But it's entirely possible that that playthrough will just, it'll dethrone me as the head of the HRE. And at that point, it's kind of like, well, we basically just wait for the Umayyads to slowly take over Europe and just kind of resign. So with that in mind, my next big playthrough was going to be a Mongol playthrough as a, with the Horse Loads expansion. We're not actually going to start that tonight because my intention at the moment is still to do the Holy Roman Empire playthrough. EP Warrior the Lord, great to see you again. I'm sorry, T. Clark, I did read your message. I got to follow up on that. But yeah, so because this is not going to be like a main playthrough that I do, I'm not going to start the Horse Lords one because I still have hope that the HRE will be salvageable. But if it isn't, then we'll obviously begin the Horse Lords one instead. All right. So first of all, very happy birthday, T. Clark. It's your birthday today, so a few days ago, your friend gave you the DLC for Child of Light, which I've never played, by the way. And then yesterday, she gave you The Witcher 3. Oh my god. And then today, her husband gave you The Walking Dead Season 2, Walking Dead 400 Days, and The Wolf Among Us. And her son gave you a bunch of keys from a bundle that had the Book of Unwritten Tales too. So all of those are fantastic games or games that I haven't played. So I am looking forward to hearing how you enjoyed those. So we've got EP Warrior the Lord. We've already said hello. And we are going to be making an Irish Republic. So again, this is going to be, just to be clear, I'm not giving up on the HRE playthrough, but so I can, one, not get totally stressed out tonight, and two, so we can maybe just have an enjoyable time. We're going to start from 769. We're going to pick one of these Irish counts. And we're going to do our best to found an Irish Republic. All right. So there's a few different ways. Again, just because this is a chance to talk a little bit about origins in a game like this, there's a few ways that you can handle starting a new game. So this is one of the best ways to sort of start off in Crusader Kings 2, is to say, I have a goal in mind. So maybe I want to make a Muslim caliphate, well, this is already made for me, but we could have some fun as the Abbasids or the Umayyads or any of these. This is not what I want to do. I've set myself a specific goal of creating an Irish Republic. So my default view is usually realms. But if I want, I can take a look at counts. Maybe I decide, okay, you know what? Maybe I'm not going to marry myself to Irish. Maybe I just want to play a count and I want to have an easier time of things. So I'll focus on on the British Isles. So in this case, I can maybe pick some of these here. York is usually a really popular one. I can maybe play some of the Scots or the Picts. Maybe we don't want to do counts, it's a little too weak for us. One thing that people will say is that count is kind of boring to play because you can't do a whole lot at the beginning. We'll see whether or not that's true. I will be playing as a count. So maybe you can take a look for dukes. And in this case, you could be Northumbria, Mercia. Is this Dorset? No, this is Wessex. Cornwall. I think it's kind of fun to play Welsh petty kings personally. But can we customize the character? We can't because I don't have that. I don't have the ruler designer, unfortunately. But that's fine because I will just play it I'll play it the way God intended. No. If I wanted to play kings, I've got some obvious choices here: Pictland, Asturias, Andalusia. Technically, West Francia and Middle Francia weren't so much kings as they were an empire divided together, but we won't consider that either way. If you want to find empires, you have to go to the realm view. There's only a couple. In this case, we have a very clear idea of what we want to do. So some other things that you might want to consider when starting off is take a look at the difficulty rating. Generally, you'll notice that being sort of a lone count is, it's not going to be easy by any real standard. I think probably the best thing for me to do here is just start at the bottom and work our way up. God being the game designer at this point. Exactly. And by the way, so we've got a very healthy number of people inside of here. So I will take a minute and give a very special thank you to Akadak, also known as Endors12, for getting us a copy of The Beginner's Guide. So I have long meant to do the Stanley Parable on stream, and now I have another game by the same designer, The Beginner's Guide. And Endors12 or Akadak has been responsible for donating that to the stream. So I can't make a promise in terms of when I will be playing it, but that will be something that's coming up. And I happen to know that Jesse Quill has been playing that recently. So I guess I have to avoid her stream to see how it goes. But Endors has been a long-standing member of the stream, somebody who, back in the days when I would sometimes be streaming to an empty channel, he was there during Gods Will Be Watching, and for some reason he has very foolishly decided to not just stick around, but encourage me to keep doing this by being extremely generous with his donations. So I do want to give some very special credit to him. He is much too humble to take credit himself, it feels like. He will always keep assigning that to Akadak, but Akadak has given a very substantial gift to the stream as well, so I think it's time that Endors gets a little bit more credit for his contributions to the stream. Blasphemy, it was totally Ak. Speak in defense. Oh, guys. And more importantly, we've got the great man, Sir Wedgie, here tonight. How are you doing, Sir Wedgie? It's always good to see you. I'm a good streamer? Oh, God. EP Warrior Lord, I have to assume you don't watch that many streams, but thank you so much for saying that. All right, let's get on with our game tonight, shall we? Obviously, we'll play Iron Man because T. Clark will gladly take any unaccepted credit. Sir Wedgie, I didn't know you were on vacation. What games have you been playing, my friend? Like all my CK2 streams? That's glad to hear it, EP War the Word. I will admit, actually, I was debating on not playing it tonight, but I didn't really get any feedback in terms of whether or not I could do something different. Just 1 second. Oops. Swedgie's been playing a sim called House Cleaning Bills and Naps. Oh my god, they just announced the finals. December 8th, 14th, and 17th. Could be worse. Okay, I'm gonna stop looking at school stuff. Okay, so in honor of the milestone in terms of viewers that we hit, let's just get this over with. We begin as Chief Fergal of Deshumane. We're beginning with a son. Son is not married. And if we don't preserve the bloodline, we are going to have a very short playthrough. So we're going to just begin by marrying him off, ideally to get an alliance that'll help us. Or okay, I'm sorry, guys. I wanted to try and get this as long as we could, but this is getting on my nerves. As much as I would love to do YOLO Swag 360 No Scope 420 Blaze It Crusader Kings 2, that music is actually really distracting. Yeah, finals for school. You'd min-max that game so hard, all naps, no house cleaning or bills. Oh my god. Okay, so we begin with the game. As always, I like to sort of consider my individual character first and come up with sort of the, if not the next couple generations worth of strategy, at least the immediate priorities that I have right now. So we are a lone county in a very hostile world. We do have the advantage of the fact that we only have 2 neighbors. We're not going to have to worry about sort of any invasion coming from the sea yet. But that doesn't mean that we can't be prepared. So maybe the first thing that we want to do is just take a look at our neighbors. So in this case, they've got 362 troops, and these guys have got 350. So by comparison, we're actually fairly weak. We only have 286, and that is our full levy total. So if you don't stop that beard, this playthrough will be very short. Kill it before it lays it. This guy? Oh, you're talking about this guy. That is a fancy beard. So there's a few, basically. Oh, you know what? Actually, I probably shouldn't have closed down this this menu. So this is actually going to be a little bit different from our normal playthroughs, because generally we have picked cultures that already have a working feudal system. So our goal is to create the Irish Republic, and that's just something that I've said I want to do this playthrough. There's no structural feature of the game that says this is the way that it should turn out. The beard for my character, he doesn't have a beard. He's just got a glorious handlebar mustache. So we're Catholic because we're Irish. But we'll talk a little bit about the features that that this style of government has. So Irish culture affects no special features. Tribes are settled but agrarian. Each country can only have one tribal holding, representing the entire local tribal population. The more empty holding slots, the more powerful the tribal holding. Tribal rulers are limited to the elective gavel-kind succession law, which tends to fragment the realm between sons on the death of the chief. You can hold tribal and fort holdings without penalties. You can build a temple, tribal, and fort holding. Use prestige to build tribal holdings. You can call tribal government vassals to arms instead of using liege levies. You do not get vassal tax from tribal government vassals. Tribal dynasties may grow decadence if their religion allows it. Rulers can raid infidel neighbors for loot. De jure law effects are ignored. Male rulers can take up to 3 concubines. Can reform to feudal, Ikta, and merchant republic government. Yeah, so we could also become Islamic. It'd be quite the twist. Catholicism is one of the oldest branches of Christianity and has the biggest impact on the history of Europe. The formal head of the religion is the Bishop of Rome, the Pope. This is exactly the same as any Catholicism that we've played through, so I won't bother going through that. So what we have to work with, 286 army levies, 40 wealth, 20 prestige, 10 piety. We are an underhanded rogue, envious, patient. We're shy, but ambitious. Currently don't have a focus assigned. This is just an icon indicating tribal government. And the first priority that we have right now is to ensure the line of succession. So we will go to medieval tender. We've got a couple of options here already. So we've got 2 16-year-olds. One is Greek but Catholic, which is nice. The alternative would be courtier in Kent. So Kent is a little bit more attractive because it gives me a slightly stronger ally. But let's just see if there's any prestige benefits. Yeah, so this is the obvious choice here. Now, as an alternative, I could also get married myself. It's a little dangerous because I might split the kingdom as far as my wife, as far as my my sons are concerned. But we don't have any additional holdings yet. So in this case, I think it's okay. And we'll get a little bit of piety for this. And it's another way of forging alliances. So in this case, I will also get married myself. I probably won't take a concubine. I think that's going to be a little dangerous in terms of my ability to keep the kingdom under control. But it's not a bad. I was gonna say, like, on the odd chance something happens to the son, it's just another way that I can sort of secure the succession. Yeah, we're just on it to hook up. You recommend I don't get married? Oh, too late. Real Garen started an Irish game in Charlemagne era, and so much waiting till something happens. Yeah, okay. So I guess we might be in for a bit of a boring playthrough. I'll try and get the dialogue out of the way early on then. So in this case, I usually like to try and start off with theology just so I can get the pilgrimage bonus. Debatable because this guy is 69 years old and he may not be long for this world, but I'm going to go for it anyway. By the way, welcome, Real Garen. Could cause big problem. Yeah, it could, but what I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to try something a little bit different, seeing as this is a little bit more of a relaxed playthrough. We're not trying to go for something big like the HRE playthrough that we have. So I'm going to try and stay on the one. Like, I'm going to try and keep the game as unpaused as long as I can and just keep it on one when I'm talking, and then we'll speed up to do things. So we can get 10 gold or... well, I mean, neither of these are really major, but in this case, I'll say people respect wealth. You guys are always so worried about Gavelkind succession, but when has that ever been a problem here? In fact, to show you, I will shake my fist at RNG and say, bring it. I'm also going to do have a daughter so that I can increase my fertility. Give all my subjects a concubine. Give all my subjects the same concubine. Alright, to the Honorable Chief Fergal, may you live in harmony and contentment. I accept your suggestion that Selbach and Idber get married. So I'll just let you guys know, like, as much as I enjoy making fans of Crusader Kings 2 go completely crazy by my incredibly poor decision making in this game, I'm not as worried about the Gavelkind succession simply because I only have one province right now, and it's going to take me a while to actually muster up an army to get anything done. So it's possible that this guy's going to die before I need to worry about any succession problems. And if it comes down to it, I can always just kill. Somebody. And yeah, EP Warrior the Lord makes a good point. It is elective Gavelkind, so it isn't necessarily a member of my family that winds up taking the throne anyway. Although I've personally never had that problem before. Sorry guys, I just needed to clear out some space. Just started learning the game this week. So it's so complex but really fun. I agree with you completely, Real Garen. In fact, I actually learned this game on stream, but I've gotten to a point now I'm feeling a little bit more confident about it. But yeah, there's always something new to learn. And if you have any questions yourself, feel free to speak up. Although I think some of the fun of the game can be the exploration as well. So. By the way, there's a few new faces inside of chat, either not, lurking or speaking inside of it. So welcome. I've done my best not to shout people out inside of chat because I know that sometimes scares people off. But your presence is always appreciated here, guys. All right, well, let's go to Rome and see the tombs of the apostles. So we'll speed it up to 3 for now, just because we don't really have a whole lot to do while we're on our pilgrimage. It's actually worth... So I was talking a little bit about our goals. My things are packed, everything is in order, and soon I will walk the streets of the Eternal City and see its marvels. So I'm actually going to take this back to 1 speed just so I can show you a couple of the options that come from tribal government. Immediately expel the Jews and never invite them back. Yeah, so we stay in the Middle Age, or in the Dark Ages forever. Still somewhat clueless on marriages and claims on titles. It is definitely it's something that takes a little bit of getting used to. I would, in my own case, sometimes I just sort of roll with what comes up. I usually like to use, so this is sort of this is your final court of appeal to work out your current claims. But usually that's not the most helpful thing to look at, if I'm completely honest. They said this was a lawless stretch of road, but you still feel rather unlucky to be in this situation. The robbers are many and armed, and they demand that you pay a toll before you are allowed to pass. Lose 10 gold. So our 40 wealth is fairly diminished at the very beginning. The Real Garen, thank you very much for that follow. We've only known you for a little while, but I really appreciate the show of support. As I said, if ever you want to have something in this game answered, I will do my best to help you out. That is one nice thing, especially about starting off the game like this, is that I don't have the advantage of a huge kingdom to rely on like in my other playthrough. So people get a chance to sort of see how this game starts off. There have been strong rains in the area lately, and the valley you need to cross has been transformed into a sizable lake. The water is still rising, so you start to build a large raft in order to cross. When you're almost finished building, a group of farmers show up and explain that they need to cross into the valley in order to get back to their homes. They bring with them another number of animals that they've rescued from the flood. So in this case, we're going to bring the farmers with all their animals. You can always just mouse over. So in this case, I'll get arbitrary, which is generally a negative trait, to say that I'm not sharing my raft with anyone, man or beast. I could also say only let them bring the cats and dogs, and it had better not rain anymore. But in this case here, gaining charitable is fairly good. In this case, you can just mouse over to see what it is here. So you gain 3 diplomacy, 10 church opinion, 10 same trade opinion. The only drawback is that if somebody is not charitable, or rather the opposite, then they'll have a negative 10 opinion of you. Now, there's not a whole lot. Oh, you know what? I'm an idiot. I should have also assigned my council, but I was desperately trying to get the game underway that I didn't set up properly. So let's just we'll take a minute here. We'll just hang on pause for a sec, just so I can show you how we organize these things. So to begin with, what are my immediate priorities? Well, I want to expand my holdings. I have one of the weaker armies in the area. Fortunately, these places don't have any allies. So one of the first things I can think about is raising a mercenary army. So in this case, the cheapest mercenaries I can get are 150 gold. But these, like, hiring mercenaries like that will absolutely clobber these guys. So one approach I might take would be to start fabricating a claim on them. And in fact, I don't really have any diplomatic relations that I need to take care of. So in this case, that's exactly what I'm going to do. And I think the better route for me to go would actually be to take the larger of the armies on first, simply because 1,500 troops are going to be able to bowl over either one of these. Another nice thing to look at would be the de jure duchies. So in this case here, there's no benefit in terms of picking one or the other from a law standpoint, because I'm going to have 2/3 of the realm, which means I'll be able to create the duchy on its own. But let's say we were in, let's say we maybe had the choice between the Duchy of Leinster and the Duchy of Munster. One might mean that we can get a claim on a duchy, whereas the other might not. So these are the sorts of things that I'll consider when I'm trying to pick which of these areas to go to war with. So in this case, we'll start fabricating a claim here. I should have actually checked to make sure he's my best diplomat. It's unlikely that this is actually going to go through during this character's lifetime, or that I'd even be able to afford it. But it doesn't hurt to sort of lay these seeds down. You can always cancel it after the fact. But it seems just as well to have that set up right now. You have a challenge to do an entire playthrough without expelling the Jews. If we the word the Lord, I'll actually do a playthrough as a Jewish ruler at some point. All right, just try to marry off women in my kingdom to anyone that has prestige and such. Absolutely, that's a good way of doing it. And your game, when your ruler died and heir got it, he had a concubine lover that was his half sister. I am glad that you have been following up on the Star Wars trilogy. She's only a half-sister, though. Excellent use of the kappa there, Andrew756, and welcome. Hope you're having a wonderful Friday night. All right, so I sort of said that I was going to be... I wasn't going to spend so much time on pause, but I do actually need to organize my counselors. So one of the nice things about playing as a count is that you don't have a lot of territory to manage. So in this case here, I can choose to train troops or I can organize a raid. No point in suppressing a revolt right now. In this case, I'm going to train troops because, again, I want to make sure that I have strength compared to my potential enemies. This isn't probably going to set me up to be able to just clobber these guys, but it's always nice to have a little bit extra on the margin. Now, as far as the steward is concerned, this you'll notice that this looks a little bit different from how I normally play. In this case, we've got Settle a Tribe. What this is going to do is actually have the culture change to Irish. Now, at the moment, I have no use for this, because if I go to the culture view, where is it? Ireland is all Irish. But if for whatever reason I needed to change some of these areas, let's say, I wanted to take over Wales and turn it Irish, I could actually start immigration. I could do overseas construction, but in this case, I don't really have the money to build anything. So right now I could, try some of these. It'll cost, let's see, 36 for Hillfort, 36 for... Oh, you know what? So I could have actually built this before I got robbed. And then it looks like training grounds, war camp, practice range, all of these things are going to require expenditure or prestige expenditure. So personally, I think this holding is the best one because I personally own it. We do have a bishop under us and he can give us something. But in this case, this is something that's going to stay in the family. And it's going to follow whatever ruler I wind up playing because it's my primary holding. So in this case, it makes sense to upgrade it. Can you be a Jewish ruler and expel the Jew? No, you cannot. Expel yourself? We're all leaving. Good luck. Yeah. By the way, I'm kind of curious how the spam got deleted. I wonder if that's just something that automatically happened or if... Huh. Interesting. All right. So in this case here, we don't have the collect taxes option. But what we do have instead, and let me just make sure, wow, I really don't have any good steward options. So build legend, have your steward build a legend amongst your people, increasing your prestige and possibly even raising some eager warriors. If you don't use these troops and go to war, they will get angry at you and you will lose some prestige. So I increase my prestige monthly, and there's a almost 5% chance that we raise some troops. Now, raising the troops is a little bit unfortunate because I don't have a whole lot that I can do with them. But there's ways of dealing with that, so I'm not going to panic about that too much. Now, we have scheme and build a spy network. We don't have a whole lot that we want to do with scheming and spy networks right now. A lot of people will suggest that you just scheme in your capital in case something happens. But in this case here, I'm actually going to wind up trying to steal technology. Or I would if I had any options to do so. Well, I can send him to Byzantium, but I think that's a great way to get him imprisoned, so... We'll send him on the outskirts. I mean, he's not that great of a spy master, so I don't mind it if he gets captured. Finally, we've got our court chaplain. Now, one thing that you could do would be to improve religious relations. They already like me a lot, though, so there's no major benefit to me doing that. Alternatively, I could do build zeal. This is equivalent to building a legend, so it's going to raise my piety, in this case only by 0.4 because my court chaplain isn't really that good of a theologian. But it also has the added bonus. Let me just mouse over it. Also has a chance of raising zealots. So in this case, these are nice little extra troops that I might get. And if it happens to trigger at the right moment, this is going to actually be really helpful in terms of taking over these neighboring areas. A police officer in your city badly hurt one of your friends and didn't do any... Jesus Christ. Where do you live, EP Warrior of the Lord? All right, so we're going to go back to unpause. We're still on the pilgrimage. So in terms of just setting up some priorities for myself, I went for theology just so I could do this pilgrimage. I'm going to be switching my focus as soon as I can afterwards. Now, that's going to be 774. So again, he's probably going to be dead by that time. By the way, 69 years old, 17-year-old wife, doing well for himself. But on the odd chance that, that we do survive, I'm going to be gearing it towards my immediate accomplishments of taking over neighboring areas. And we can think a little bit about the best way to accomplish that. Oh, that's right, EP. Sorry, you've said that before as well. I'm really sorry to hear that. I do hope obviously you just saw this on the news, so it must be recent, but I really do hope your friend gets through it. You like to put your chaplain to improve relations with the Pope. That's not a bad strategy. I mean, in my case right here, I don't have a whole lot to gain from the Pope, I don't think. And then, of course, he could wind up dying. So in this case here, I like the idea. In the end, the game is scored based on prestige and piety, so I always try to take those little extra ones. And there's also that chance of gaining the extra troops. One recommendation I do tend to make if you're playing a king or something like that, and you have a lot of bishops who who can give you some tax money. It doesn't hurt to build up the relationships with your bishops who are maybe a little bit more loyal to the Pope than you. But obviously, everybody has sort of their own ways of playing these sorts of things. But yeah, real Garen, if you're ever confused about what to do with your chaplain, and especially if you're not playing tribal like this, using him to improve religious relations with the bishops who are not giving you money is actually not a bad way to go about it. All right, you've finally arrived at Rome. As you enter the Eternal City, you are struck by the many ancient buildings and monuments that you pass by. It is truly impressive, and you try to imagine how the apostles felt when they first came here on their holy mission at a time when the city's power was at its peak. Though large areas have been depopulated, the city still boasts an impressive population concentrated around the Tiber River. The holy sites you want to visit are primarily the basilicas of St. Peter and St. Paul, as well as other early churches and places connected to the martyrs. You start making your way to the center of the city, hoping that you won't get lost in the traffic as the crowds get ever more dense. 1,000 roads lead men forever to Rome. Yeah, IP Warrior the Lord. Usually that's what I wind up using my chaplain for, although if I were to change this to a feudal system, I would actually wind up using him to research the technology. All right, the stories of other pilgrims all spoke of how impressive this place is. Now you can see it with your own eyes. You can only join in their praise. You are glad that you came here to one of Christianity's holiest places. It was well worth the journey. Gain 20 piety. And here we can afford to speed up a little bit. You finally returned home from your pilgrimage. It was rewarding and an interesting journey, and you'd do it all again if you could. Still, it's good to be back home. A great experience, gain 30 piety, as well as a relationship bonus, so it's worth remembering. One of the reasons why I do this is it gains you the ticking monthly piety, which again, over an entire playthrough for, in this case, it'd be almost 800 years. 10 a month actually means quite a bit. And of course, people of the same faith get an additional 5 opinion of you. So that's regardless of how faithful they actually are. So it's a nice little bonus to have. All right. So one thing I forgot to mention was we set ourselves a goal of creating a merchant republic. We don't have to. We could also become feudal. But in this case, we need to see what are the prerequisites. So I have to be higher than a count, so that if I didn't already have a goal of taking over my neighbors, I do now. As not an unreformed pagan, well, that's already happened. Primary title has the law absolute tribal organization, which means that we want to be going to our legal system, and if we could, we would be adjusting. We can't, though. That's weird. I thought there was... I was under the impression there was an authority. Maybe they changed this. Anyways, so there's nothing I can change about my laws. Next to the prerequisites... capital, we need to have a tribal and a large market city. So in addition to conquering a neighbor, we want to, it starts off as market village, and we eventually build it up. So what I can start doing with the money that I raise, I can go, once I get to 36.7, I can build a market village. One of the reasons why I'd want to do that rather than save up for my mercenaries is that that's going to be an investment that pays... sort of starts paying for itself. So, to the heroic chief Fergal, may you live in harmony and contentment. We propose that Elpin map Uroid and Garok marry. Why not? What's the difference between feudal and merchant republic? Merchant republic is ruled by 5 houses. Absolutely true. A little disappointed that you can't expel the Jews as a Jewish ruler. There's something about that scenario that is immensely amusing. Yeah, except for the Jews. And the house that invests the most money in their ruler gets to be ruler. A little bit true. It's also age that's a factor in that. Feudal, just regular monarchy. So it's a little bit like an auction house. I mean, you can also use money to influence the election of bishops, right? Or cardinals, rather. Just most people tend to ignore it. So one of the reasons why, I mean, there's a decision that I need to make here is like, do I save up for an army to invade, or do I build a market village? Well, I'm going to wind up needing this building anyway. And as time goes by, that tax income is going to increase. So in my opinion, it's okay to take that money and put it directly into income producing assets. It is a little bit of a long-term view of the game, but you also have other options in terms of raising armies and raising funds. So in this case here, I'm just going to be waiting for my 36, and then I'll wind up spending it. You may feel differently about it, and I mean, I don't have an ironclad argument in terms of saying this is the only way you should do it, but I'm certainly going to put the investment in as soon as I can. You saved up prestige for a shipyard and you raided Africa a little bit. I think they get you to do that in the tutorial as well, actually. All right, I always knew my ambition would help me reach great places, and to acquire some wealth during the way is always a nice bonus. One thing that's worth mentioning in terms of this focus, so generally I use it for the pilgrim trait, but it is also worth mentioning that learning does actually affect the diffusion of technology. Shocking, I know. But so in that case, even if you don't even if you've gotten your even if you've already got your pilgrim trait, you can actually use it to you can use this for building up your infrastructure as well. Now, again, we're really early on in the game, so there's not a whole lot of technology that we're generating, but these things kind of add up over time. What's the best focus? It actually depends on what you want to accomplish. So I'll take a minute here. I'll just review again. We've got a neighbor here with about 480 troops. So even if we had, they outnumber us by 100 already. So that's going to be a problem. Now, we could possibly increase the number of levies that we have by having a higher military. In this case, actually our... is that really my son? Wow, he got old. Let's marry off my other kid. Yep, that works. So there's a few different ways that we can try and deal with this. We could try to... I mean, if we had some kind of family connection, we could try and assassinate our way into the position. But honestly, to me, somebody with 489 troops, the best option seems to be to hire an army and invade them. So, again, if I increase my military, I might get some gains here, but it's really not enough to lay siege to the holding. I don't know if it'll tell me what their levies are. So garrison's 250, levies 450. So on the odd chance I was actually able to beat that army, I would also need to make sure that I didn't, I had over 250 to actually be able to siege the province, and that I'd have enough to sort of last through the attrition. It's a pretty unreasonable assumption for 389 troops. And, I've got my son working on raising troop levies and stuff like that, but let's face it, it's not very realistic to say that this is gonna be happening. So in this case, it seems to me that hiring mercenaries is the best way to go. And so for that purpose, business is actually a really good way to go. It raises my stewardship, but it also gives me some events that will raise cash. Now, maybe I had a lot of vassals that I needed to take care of. I was at my vassal limit and I wanted to sort of improve it. Carousing is actually really good for that, because the diplomacy trait is going to be affecting the cap in terms of the number of vassals that you can have. Alternatively, maybe I knew that, like, everybody's talking about how Gavelkind sucks. Well, I've got a bunch of brothers and sisters that are going to be inheriting a bunch of territory, and I want to be able to get it as quickly as possible. Maybe I'll go for intrigue or seducer. And in that case, that'll raise my intrigue trait, and my assassinations will be going by a little bit faster. So the focus should really be determined by what your immediate goals are in terms of the game. You can change it every 5 years. And so in this case, I said that getting the pilgrim trait ahead of time would be a nice little added bonus. And then after theology, I'm going to go to business, and I'm just going to hope that either I get an event that will give me a bunch of cash, or I'll just sort of ride the extra money that the 2 stewardship gives me. How's it going, Captain Bear 2? All right, let's speed it up a bit. It is also worth mentioning, so one difference as far as, let's see here. To the good Chief Farragal, your wisdom and mercy are legendary. We request that you honor your obligation and answer this call to arms against Earl Brodra of Surrey. Declining would cost us 25 prestige. If we accept, we would be part of the Kentish-Surrian de jure war over Surrey. We'll say yes, but we won't actually do anything. Whatever son has the best stats should be ruler. Yeah, that's usually a good way of looking at it. I've never actually wound up playing that way, but... Got a new gaming headset today. What model did you get? I don't know that much about it, but I like to... Good lord! Actually, sorry, I didn't realize there were 15 people in the stream right now. Thanks for stopping by, guys. I got a late start tonight, but... You guys are making it worthwhile. Thank you very much. I'm doing okay, Captain Bear. I'm definitely feeling the impact. I mean, grad school is a lot harder than anything I could have imagined. So, that just translates to later stream times, not always being able to make it. I was talking with Ponce the other day about something special that I've got planned. I'm not quite ready to unveil it, but it's a way of making my economics education a little bit more formal, and I'll use it as, I will say, I'm actually going to try using it as an introduction to a Europa Universalis game. So again, it won't be an extended playthrough like what I do with Crusader Kings 2, but it's definitely going to be something that I think does a nice job of sort of, my goal here would be to take something from the Quarterly Journal of Economics, which is, it's Harvard's journal. It's published by Oxford, but it's basically Harvard's journal. A lot of interesting papers. Some of them are just kind of like cute for the sake of being cute. I mean, these are economists that will do more than I can ever do in my life. But with that in mind, like, there's definitely a range in terms of quality. But I'm going to take one of those papers. I'm going to try and present it in a way that you could replicate these results if you wanted, and sort of use them to launch into this Europa game. I won't say what the paper is. That's kind of the surprise. But when I get a chance to do that, I'm not quite sure. But hopefully it'll be something that'll work out. Logitech G930 wireless headset. Would you recommend it, Captain the Bear, or have you not tried it out yet? All right. Yeah, Captain Bear. I mean, the big thing is that I think the fact that people have been so supportive and have given so much, either in terms of their time, some of them in terms of money, some of them in terms of games, some of them all three. I really want to... I want to be conscious of that, and I want to make sure that people, that I'm doing everything that I can to make sure that I am consistent and doing my best in terms of every kind of stream. So sometimes I don't meet those requirements. I definitely do my best when I can, but I definitely get a lot out of it. And I'm glad other people do. But yeah, it's a big thing for me that I think it's important to be as consistent as possible. So all right. So one drawback, of course, is my age. I could die at any time. But in this case, we are going to use the claim. So this is going to cost us 675 gold and 50 prestige. Thank you very much, EP. You'll come back next time after you get a chance. Friday stream to get a better test out of them. So far, so good, but not cheap. $200. I mean, the headphones I'm using right now, I actually won at my school's Dota club. So yeah, I should have explained what we're doing here. We borrowed 300 from Jewish merchants, and now we owe them 350. But we can. Okay, and why am I not able to do this? Oh, I got to be higher than Duke. Drat. But of course, in this case here, we borrow money. And the reason we do that, it's a really convenient way to hire, what do we want? The Saxon band, the Breton band, the Swiss band. I guess we should take a look and see what's their army composition. Light infantry, little heavy infantry, archers. I think the Saxon band will do the trick. So we'll just wait a little while their morale builds up. We can't wait forever on this because we do need to... We do still need to actually declare war. And in this case here, I will still raise my levies just because we can. And we march. A Minecraft waffle. Good to see you again. All is well. Your son would just get the strong claim. Not always, actually. Let's take a look. Oh, this is a strong claim. So in this case, yes, this one would be inherited by the successor. I was at least under the impression that I've lost claims before. Okay, so they cowardly ran from their own realm. So what we will do now is we'll split off the special troops. And in this case, we'll let our guys lay siege to the county, and we'll let the Saxon band do what we paid them for. All right, now actually this is very clever of them. So they did wait until my forces were split to launch their attack. Unfortunately, they don't have any morale, so they're still going to get clobbered. All right, so we captured somebody, which is good for hostage money. And in this case, we'll just... it's really nice to just be able to push in and wipe out as many troops as we can. So Minecraft Waffle, in this case, is just kind of a casual playthrough. What we want to do is found a merchant republic as Ireland. And basically, I mean, ideally we'd like to take over Ireland and expand as large as we can. But at the moment, our primary goal is just to... oh dear. At the moment, our goal is to try and push ourselves up into a higher station in life. All right, my steward tells me that his efforts at praising my name and deeds have met with great success. A small army of warriors have converged at Dun and Sedan, ready to serve me. I just need to make sure that they have someone to fight within a year, lest they become troublesome. So let's take advantage of the extra numbers. We will split off the mercenaries. It's just going to save us a little bit of cash. The war's more or less over anyway. All right, we will offer peace. Enforcing the demands gives us another 100 prestige as well as the territory. And we are on our way up. So we can now create the Duchy of Munster. We do need 187 for that, though, so we're going to be waiting a while for access. Unfortunately, that means that we can't expel the Jewry until we gain that title. So what I am going to try and do, again, this is an advantage of the tribal system, but we can actually try raiding our neighbors, which is exactly what I intend to do. Now, again, I do want to make sure that I am keeping I want to keep an eye on the date here, so I don't want to go past 772. I'll probably wait till about summer, and then I'll drop the special event characters. But at the moment here, we'll just bring in a little bit of a stream of income by raiding our neighbors. King of potatoes. You played Ireland a lot, and that always seems to be the goal. Just get a little higher. Yeah. Captain Barry, really sleepy right now. Almost fell asleep in your chair. Will you be streaming this weekend? Tough call, Captain Barrett. I've actually been. I've got quite a bit of micro that I want to get through tonight, but it is a long weekend for in Canada at least. So I'm gonna do my best to try and get a special stream in. I might. I might try and do one of the reading ones actually, but I can't make any promises. We will definitely be back for Monday. And if I do get the opportunity to stream in between now and then, I will. The best thing to do is always check Twitter. If I'm going to be doing an extra stream, I'll always announce it on there. But at the moment, as much as I'd love to give you a commitment, it really depends how far I get through my readings. Strapping Old Land, so it sort of depends. At what happened with that particular playthrough was the end of last stream. The game was actually unpaused, and I let it run for a really long time. And there were 2 rebellions that came up. And so I have about a fifth of the territory that I did back then. It might be an irrecoverable playthrough. So I am going to try and rescue it, but I'm not entirely sure what's going on with that. If it's irrecoverable, I will do another HRE playthrough. But right now we're just doing an intermission where we play as a tribal government on our way to a merchant republic. So the HRE is on a 1-week hiatus, and we'll see whether or not we can bring it back. Yeah, a little bit of a difference between the two terms, EP War of the World. Okay, you got Ireland. Should you go after Welsh countries next? Well, that actually depends on the state of the playthrough. So you'll notice here that, like, in this particular case, Northumbria is fairly strong. So they're sitting on 772 troops. That's as their full strength. So, if your combined forces in Northumbria are able to sustain it, more power to you. 373 seems a little thin. There might be an angry army that comes up to hit me, so I'm going to hold off for a minute. Now, if I take the comparison, the next place that's available is Dyfed. So at the moment, Gwynedd is in rebellion. So Dyfed is on its own. They've got 454 troops. So in this case here, Wales is a bit more fragmented than Northumbria. And so it sort of seems like the immediate solution, but it really depends on sort of the contours of your playthrough and also who you're allied with and things like that. But yeah, I would say in your particular case, all things being equal, it wouldn't be a bad idea to go to Wales. Have a great night, Captain Bear. Yeah, and so the big thing to remember here, Real Garen, is that, and as we're learning on this playthrough, right, it can be a virtue to just wait. I think we've really been trained in a lot of games to, to sort of expect this instant gratification, like this immediate priority that we have. Jack Dancer, thank you so much for that follow. And let me just double check that I didn't miss anybody. There's a lot of support that we've been getting tonight. Thank you very much, guys. So your game, Scotland is a mess and there's tons of revolts and such. Yeah, so in that case, that might make an argument to crossing over into Northumbria and then moving up to Scotland because it's very fragmented and that's an easy kingdom that you can take. I mean, arguably Wales is as well. But again, like in terms of this game here, notice what happened with that other county, right? We were originally saying that we were going to play the long game. We were going to wait for we're going to wait to take the focus for, for business and just work our way up to, to sort of buying our way into that kingdom. But we had our claim that we could press. So we said, okay, well, the opportunities come up now. Why don't we press our claim and hire the mercenaries right away? Now that has a cost. I've borrowed from the Jewish moneylenders and we don't have a way of paying that back. We also don't have a way of expelling them. So that's going to be another set of priorities that I need to deal with. But in this case here, again, opportunities will always come up, and being able to distinguish between, okay, this is a sure thing for me right now, or I'm not 100% sure that this is going to pay off, is sort of the way that you can make your playthroughs a little bit more secure. All right, so it looks like we got some technology, which is always good. Nothing to push us over the edge yet, but fate smiles on me, and my wife Adela is pregnant. So, of course, right in time for us to have two different territories to split up in the succession laws, my wife becomes pregnant. That's what I get for mocking RNG. Your playthrough is from a small count in Sicily that unites Italy to fight off the Byzantines and ally with the Muslims. The Muslims take over Europe, and you rule as the king vassal of Sicily. Then I rebel and become the emperor. Sounds a little bit like the House Rose playthrough, except that we allowed ourselves to be conquered by Vikings, and then worked our way up to emperor. You have a new heir. If your character dies, you will play as the guy who I married off. All right, so Chief Farragut has steadfastly fallen asleep in the Lord at age 72. He died a natural death. Long live Chief Selbach. So let's just take a minute here to do a bit of a cabinet shuffle. We can appoint a new marshal. Nobody's really that good, but don't have any better stewards or spy masters, but we do have a better court chaplain, so we're going to appoint a new one here. Let me just double check that we don't have anybody else. By assigning somebody different, so basically by taking somebody away and sort of putting them into a different position, it's actually potentially given me openings in other places. So for instance, now I can hire a better marshal. So it doesn't hurt to just kind of go through. If you shift one position and you don't remember the stats for the other people, it doesn't hurt to just take a quick look. This is my current talent pool. A lot of it's pretty thin. It's all single digits. Everybody here's got double digits, so we don't need to worry about shifting things around anymore. Now, we are a new ruler, so okay, I can't do anything here. So let's just take a chance. In this case, I'm going to go to Osridge. Worth taking a look at what they've got. So they're at 358 troops. We're currently sitting at 340. Now, and we're more or less at the cap. So there's a couple of things that we're going to do. Let's go for theology again, just because I really do like getting that pilgrimage bonus. One of the reasons why I'm pressing the claim here right now is I'm not going to be able to hire mercenaries, but consider the two possibilities. Number one, I'm able to somehow get enough money to raise the mercenary army. In that case, I'm laughing. Option number two, I could be in a situation where, I can't afford to invade and the event triggers. In that case, there's nothing else that I can do, right? If I sow dissent, I don't have any invasion plans to begin with, so sowing dissent really doesn't do a whole lot. I'm also not really that worried about my neighbors at the moment. So I don't really have a whole lot to gain by sort of frustrating my, the rival counties or something like that. So sow dissent is kind of a bit of a waste of my chancellor. Diplomacy, wait a minute. I am doing diplomacy right now. That sucks. All right. Well, in November, I'm going to reassign him. But if I do fabricate claim, if I don't take the opportunity, then I'm just simply going to wind up not pressing it, and I wind up getting a little bit of extra piety for it. So in this case, it's there's not a whole lot that I lose. I'm going to just take a quick minute here and see if there's any places I can send him. All right, let's put him somewhere that's a little further away from a capital. Or wait, that's a capital on its own, so he's probably going to get captured. Can't just do a war of aggression or whatever it's called. You don't need to fabricate. I don't believe that is true, actually. So we need to have a valid CB against these neighboring areas. I should say, Garen, that there are some situations in this game where you can actually attack just as a straight war of aggression, but not in this particular case. Let's go to the Holy Land in this case. And do we have better than 7? Nope. All right, we don't have a lot of options for wives at the moment, but this will do. I could have done a little bit more of a thorough search, but my journey begins. One thing I should also maybe consider too is appointing regents, because I'm going to be having so many of them. All right, so I can get 10 gold or 13 prestige. In this case, I'm actually going to take the gold. This is mostly just so I can create the duchy. Your last playthrough on Ireland, you were able to do something like that. Yeah, so at Minecraft Waffle, I'm not entirely sure why you were able to do that in this particular case. I haven't actually had an Ireland playthrough where I was able to do a war like that. It might have something to do with who your neighbors were. I mean, if it was these areas, I really can't answer why that is. But generally, I think it's if you play something like the Vikings, you're able to do wars of aggression. I also know usually if you play Islamic rulers, you're able to do something like that. All right, the old wooden bridge has carried many pilgrims in its day. It creaks suspiciously as you step on it. So the extra diplomacy is kind of tempting, but I also don't really have major, like, I'm kind of weighing my options here, right? So I don't have any major opinion problems. Right now, money really is my primary concern, and charitable doesn't give me a direct way of doing that. So I can say stop and help repair it, lose 10 gold, or I can say no time to stop. I'm sure it'll hold. 20% chance I gain wounded, which is actually kind of troublesome for an old guy like this. But in this case, I'm going to risk it just because in the end, I do actually want the cash. And it paid off. I mean, I'm already infirm, so... Now, it's worth mentioning here that we've got Bishop Talan, who doesn't actually have a high opinion of me. So in this case, actually, I should probably be doing this anyway. We'll assign people who have the highest opinion of me. Now, we could actually be using my court chaplain to change his opinion. I think I might do that actually, just simply because the difference isn't that much. It's only about 25, and we can probably do that in a couple of turns. So, traveling down along in lonesome Rome, you come upon a man lying in a ditch. He seems to have been robbed and beaten up quite badly. So I can gain the trait kind, negative to intrigue, bonus to diplomacy, lose 10 gold, or leave him. He's probably dead anyway. All right, just taking a quick look at which bishop he is. You finally arrived at Jerusalem. Passing by the Mount of Olives, you enter through the city gate and are immediately overcome by a feeling of having made a truly epic journey. The city is filled with people of all creeds and colors. The air is heavy with smells of strange spices and foreign plants. You make your way through the throng of people and animals, excited by the knowledge that you are now close to the Via Dolorosa and other holy places. You plan to also visit the Church of the Nativity in Bethlehem, but first you need to find some place to stay. After all, you wouldn't want to be forced to sleep in a stable, would you? Why no kind trait? In this particular case, I'm weighing my priorities. So right now, I want to be able to create this duchy as soon as possible. Creating the duchy will allow me to expel the Jewry and pay off my debt. It is also going to cause me other problems, but in this case, I actually think it's worth it, especially with these old rulers. So in order to create the duchy, I'm going to need money. To gain the kind trait, I needed to spend 10 gold. So in this case, I say it's like, okay, what's diplomacy going to get me? Well, it's going to get me opinion from my vassals. But as you can see here, they're generally okay with me. It could be better, but it's not like... It's not critical. I only have 2 of them. So in this case here, I can say it's like, okay, well, there's no gain to be made from improving my diplomacy from an opinion point of view. I'm not running out of space for my domain size or the number of vassals that I can have. So in this particular case, I said, what is this 10 gold really gaining me for the kind trait? Not a whole lot. On the other hand, keeping that 10 gold is going to put me closer towards gaining that duchy title. So it's just simply saying, what is my priority right now, and aligning my my play to fulfilling those particular goals. Yeah, 1-4 said it much more concisely than I did. The bustling mass of pilgrims is impressive, as are the many languages, colors, and ways of dress present. People come here from west, east, north, and south. You are standing at a place where the roads meet, and that is where people and ideas meet. In this case, I've got a 30% chance of gaining intrigue or learning, but I've sort of already accepted that this character... RT Cock, thank you very much for that follow. I don't think I've seen you speak in chat. If you want to say hello, feel free to do so, but I definitely appreciate that show of support, as indeed I do for everybody. We were at 419 last stream, and we're now at 425. That is quite the jump. So thanks a lot, guys. So in this case here, I've got a 30% chance of gaining a trait. Now, I've sort of accepted that with an infirm ruler like this, I'm not going to be getting a whole lot. Alternatively, I've got a 50% chance of gaining Gregarious, which will actually give me a lot of these things that I was looking for in my, in the kind trait. So 2 diplomacy, 5 extra attraction option that actually you don't get from kind. Because let's face it, chicks don't go for nice guys. Let me grab my fedora. No, like you gain the attraction option for being gregarious. You don't gain the attraction option for kind. Vassal opinion +5, same trait opinion. So in this case here, higher chance and something that's a little bit more useful for free. So, and as it turns out, we did get it. So. Yeah, EP Warrior, the Lord. Okay, and because you made the 420 reference. I'm still never going to get used to 360 no scope YOLO blaze it Crusader Kings 2, but I'll do my best. All right, we can afford to speed this up a little bit. So again, we got the Pilgrim trait that we needed. Oh, I know exactly what you were saying, Minecraft Waffle. By the way, I'm curious if Wedgie's still in here, because I didn't really give him his due. I was a little scrambly, but for those of you who don't know Sir Wedgie, he's a great mod for Seriously Claire's. In fact, the only reason he's not a mod in here, well, I don't have any mods anyway, but one of the reasons he's not a mod here is I want at least one place in the world for him to one place in the world for him not to have to work. But he's also somebody who streams occasionally, and I think if you aren't following him right now, hopefully if he gets a few more followers, he'll stream a little bit more often. 420 Blaze at CK2. 3 Elite 5U CK2. The rise of the Shia. The schism at the heart of Islam dates back to its earliest days. The majority Sunnis have long persecuted the followers of Ali, the Shias, forcing them into hiding. The partisans of Ali look to his descendants for leadership, but they are forced to keep their ancestry secret. Now, though, the Shias are mobilizing their strength behind a boy who they claim to be Ali's rightful heir and imam. Other Islamic jurists claim that the boy is clearly a fraud, but to his followers he is the person that they have been waiting for, and now they flock to his banner. Oh, yeah, that's true, T. Clark. I do have my friend from high school who is who's got the badge but no power. There's a couple of streamers who, we were talking about this, and the point that they made was it's usually a proper rule set that makes a good mod team, and I'm frankly just too lazy to come up with rules. Minecraft Waffle, I have. That video is absolutely hilarious. Yeah, Minecraft Waffle. I have actually I specifically started an Ulm playthrough because of that video. I was in absolute hysterics. Paradox actually replied to that video saying that they were going to nerf Ulm as a response. All right, now I have a little bit of a decision. So I could spend the 73 to improve my market village. That is going to be fulfilling one of the prerequisites for Merchant Republic. Again, we're going to hold off just because I do want to have some continuity in terms of my realm. One of the ways that I can get around the problems from the Gavelkind succession is, I mean, other than killing relatives, that's always a good way of doing that, but is to actually hold the duchy. So in that case, even though that title may be held by another family member, I hold the duchy, which means that they remain a vassal under me. So it is actually a priority for me to gain that gold. All right, a new bird has arrived to Mew, and a new book on the art of writing poetry is in the library. Let's take the falcon out for a hunt. Rules are for nerds anyway. Rule number 1, if you're not dank enough, GTFO. The new bird was more aggressive than the ones I'm used to. It killed many rabbits, but was unwilling to relinquish its catch. It even attacked me when I tried to pry one away. I could say she's far too dangerous and I gain the trait depressed, or poetry is safer. Let's try that instead. We'll gain 1 diplomacy. Once the ducky is held, he will be fine. You haven't been talking to Tony Loran, have you? One of your favorite videos make you realize the kinds of videos are really stupid. My modest attempts to write poetry was never meant to be published in any way, but wherever I go, bards and minstrels are reciting or singing my poems. So I can say my poetry was never meant for others. I can gain 15 prestige. Or I can say fame and fortune awaits. I gain the trait poet, which will give me addition diplomacy and same trait opinion of 20. So in this case, I'm actually going to go for the prestige just because I think it's a slightly more useful bonus for me. All right, so let's do what I actually said I was going to do. We will start fabricating a claim here. Again, we don't intend to press it. And let's just take a look at what we're doing with vassals. In this case, I think I'm still going to go for religious conversion. So if you're ever, so in this case, if you're ever not sure what to do with your court chaplain, if you don't have the tax money coming into your coffers, you can actually do improve religious relations. And we've actually got it right here. So my liege, my mission to, I can't even pronounce my home county, so far has been a success. During my visit to the court, Bishop Talan of Culain, so this guy, I seem to have managed to make him understand what a benevolent and pious ruler you really are, and he sends his regards. So in this case, I gain a 30 opinion modifier, which we should see here, and I get some extra tax. So I'll be able to put him back to building zeal in my territory. They do now, EP Warrior the Lord. Condor confirmed in Ireland. Was it 74 that I was able to change my focus? Let's just take a look. 77. All right. In this case here, we can afford to speed up the playthrough a bit. And remember, I did say I was going to put a bunch of investment in terms of these income-generating assets. In this case, I'm breaking that ruling just because right now creating the duchy is the higher priority for me. I'm going to leave my counselor window open just so I can change my court chaplain once they become available. I think we needed about 80 more gold. 82. And it's funny, Paradox is very careful in some of their documentation to say it's wealth, not gold, and yet I believe the game itself actually refers to it as gold. Well, here it's referred to as wealth, but I do know that in other official documentation they actually call it gold. Just call my capital Potato. Welcome to Potato Bracket CK2. I hope you enjoy your stay. So how is everybody's Friday going? I've run out a little bit in terms of the tutorial stuff to say, just because, as I said, a lot of games train us to kind of expect immediate returns. Right now, we're in a fairly good spot. We're building up some money for creating the duchy. I'll maybe reiterate some of these points just for the sake of clarity, but I don't have a whole lot new to add until we actually achieve some of these goals. So, all right, Dunlang has arrested an armed man in ragged armor and a spotty horse. He says the man claims to be a hedge knight, but clearly does not believe that statement. So this fellow can have a negative opinion of me by 20, but why do I care? And I can say that's clearly a bandit, gain 5 prestige, and... Okay, I lose 5 prestige, and my son, who is not my heir... Yeah, so in this case I'll gain the 5 piety. I really don't care if my son doesn't like me. It's actually Saturday in Texas. All right, then. Well, how is everybody's Fridays and Saturdays going? And are there any good plans for the weekend? It's going to slow it down a little bit. So just as a reiteration, right now our goals are motivated by this title loss on Succession. It's not the end of the world if it actually happens, but ideally we keep our realm intact. If it does happen, I just kill a relative. But in this particular case here, I am on my way to creating a duchy. If I create that duchy, it's also going to give me a claim on this province, which is another convenient step. My army's not strong enough to really handle something like that. They're currently sitting on 512 troops. Jewish exile freeing persecution elsewhere in Europe has showed up at your court. His time spent abroad has gifted him with many connections, and by all accounts he is an able diplomat. He would make a fine chancellor. Well, let's test that claim. Weekend plan is to stay. You're going to do something, but don't do it. Oh, you say you're going to do something, but don't do it. All right. Oh, 21 diplomat. Yes, please. And we don't have anybody who's strictly better, so... So, had I not had a potential succession crisis, I wouldn't be pursuing this particular goal. At the moment, my highest priority is to gain the claim on this territory as well as keep the kingdom unified, and so now I'm focusing on generating wealth. And we'll be able to kick that into a slightly higher gear once we get to 777 and I'm able to change my focus. So once we do create the duchy, then we're going to be able to focus on building up my infrastructure and possibly going to war again. But at the moment, it doesn't hurt to just sit, wait, and sort of let your plans come into place. T. Clark's trying to figure out if there's a way to cash your birthday check in time to get Darkest Dungeon before the sale ends on Monday. If not, you're not too worried. It will likely be on sale again during the winter sale, and possibly for even less. Absolutely the right way to think about this, T. Clark. I'm always very grateful for the gifts that people give me, and indeed, as we mentioned, Endors has gifted the stream the Beginner's Guide, which we will definitely play at some point, hopefully in the near future. But there's definitely something to be said about kind of library bloat. So unless you're truly out of games that you enjoy playing, and there's certainly a number of very high quality free to play games out which have a lot of replay value, and I can give you recommendations if you're really stumped for free to play stuff. It's very hard to make the case now that a game has to be bought right now. I might make an exception for a new Civilization title, although even then, I haven't gotten the new expansion for Beyond Earth, Rising Tide. I intend to get it because I actually like Beyond Earth. I'm not going to say it's my favorite Civ game, but I do think it got a little bit of a. I think because of the misalignment between expectations and reality. That game was treated a little unfairly. I think it's worth remembering that people maybe didn't have the same opinion about Civilization 5, but I mean, if you look at Total Biscuit's review, he definitely prefers Civilization with the DLC to Civilization 5 on its own. And so I think Rising Tide is going to be an indication that Beyond Earth is actually coming into its own as a game. And it's something I'm really going to look forward to playing on my own. What state do I live in currently? EP War the Lord, I am Canadian. I actually live in British Columbia, specifically the Vancouver area. I'm currently attending university at the University of British Columbia. I can prove nothing. Oh yeah, it was Zach Akadak who donated that. Will I stream EU4 anytime soon? Good question, Minecraft Waffle. I was mentioning I was hoping to do sort of a combined economics and Europa Universalis stream. I don't have any specific plans for when I'll be doing that though. And yeah, Real Garan, I'm very much in a similar boat to you. I mean, in my case, I have so many games that I haven't played yet that it's a little, especially because I'm currently a student, and so there's always places where the money can go. I mean, I also have plans in terms of sort of putting some capital into the stream and getting a proper streaming PC and just doing what I can to improve the quality of the broadcast. It'd be a little irresponsible of me to just go out and buy everything once it gets released because I don't have the time to play it. I've got stuff that I haven't played already. And certainly there's stuff that I do regularly on this stream and want to continue doing it that way. So, a lot of my gaming time now is actually the time that I spend on stream. Now, that won't be that way forever. I'm not going to be in school forever. I'm certainly not going to be in grad school forever, fortunately. So, it's just kind of a matter of time. And time is the big advantage for savings as well. So in the end, all of my incentives are lined up to not play games on release. Your friend is from there? Not from BC or from UBC, like the university. Holy man came into our court today about matters of faith, but it soon became clear that he had rather unorthodox views. Being a zealous defender of the church at all times, I believe I did the right thing when I gave the order to imprison the blasphemous pagan who dared criticize my faith and my church. Deus Vult! I was still shaking with rage at the pagan's blasphemous words when Bishop Donican took the opportunity to whisper "good work" in my ear. Thank you. I really needed that. It's a good university. I mean, I don't have a whole lot of options. My two big considerations for grad programs were Queen's and UBC, and at least as far as economics is concerned, UBC is basically the top rated in Canada. So, do you know what your friend studied while he was here? Fate smiles upon me, and my wife Edberth is pregnant, and hopefully it's a daughter. Minecraft Waffle, I am an economics major. So the hope would be, I mean, we'll see whether or not I have the talent or the drive to do it. I am considering a PhD, but that's a very big commitment to make. So at the moment, the master's is a decidedly employable degree, and I think it gives me a good foundation in terms of the principles for analysis and sort of to start doing some work on my own account. I mean, I've already done the thesis that I needed to do for the honors program, so I'm sort of familiar with doing an empirical project on my own. But certainly I wouldn't compare what I did in my undergrad, even if it was at a slightly higher level than, that what might normally be expected. I'm under no illusions that there's a lot that I can still learn. Yep, another son. And he's redheaded, so I'm going to beat the crap out of him. Oh, it's not critical for me to know EP Warrior Lord. In my case, I understand, I certainly understand the economics department much better than any of the others in UBC. Although I did TA in computer science. I did the beginner's intermediate programming courses and then the beginning theory. Where am I? Who are these people? Oh, pretty colors. So tired. So I go from infirm to incapable. So now it's basically -6 on everything, negative fertility -30%, health -3. I believe I need a regent, so let's just take a minute here. We're going to cheese the hell out of this game, and let's see if we can appoint a good one. I think this is the best bet. Beat the child. Deus Vult. You should have named the child my whooping child. All right. So the reason I appointed that particular regent was just so I can sort of... A hired stewardship is going to be increasing my wealth. So it gives me a chance of creating that title before I shuffle off this mortal coil. Too late! All right, time to start murdering people. So, Chief Selback rests in the arms of the Lord at age 56. He died comatose in bed. So let's start by appointing new professionals, if we can. Well, got a slightly better spy master. These are honestly not the best traits. All right, so we're going to murder the crap out of this kid. Basically, the idea here, so we sort of failed in our goal to create the duchy in time. So what we need to do now is claim this title. Now, the good news is that this kid's only 5 years old, and I am the next in line for receiving this territory. So the easy answer here is to kill them rather than to try and invade. I mean, if I wanted, I don't even get the claim. That's unfortunate. In any case, it makes the most sense. So in this case, I'm going to start the plot. I will auto-invite people to the plot. There's only one person who can join in, but they do have a fairly negative opinion of me. And then, in order to sort of speed this up, I'm going to build a spy network inside here. So the way that assassination winds up working in this game, it's a lesser known mechanic. Basically, there's a default value in terms of how long it takes to assassinate somebody. It's like some 100 years or something like that. Oh yeah, I also forgot to turn off known plots. I also forgot to ransom this guy. He's just kind of been sitting there, but nobody wants him, so it doesn't matter. But basically, in this case here, you can assign people to improve the plot power. As the plot power goes up, that's going to be sort of accelerating the time that you're fulfilling those couple of 100 years that it takes to do the plot. So basically, if you have a high plot power, then your opportunities for assassination are going to become more frequent. If you just let it go at like 0 plot power, then your character is going to need to live to be hundreds of years old to actually see the plot go through. Yep, we lost the land EP War of the Lord, but we'll get it back pretty quickly. I mean, 184 plot power, this kid is not going to be living to see his 16th birthday. Hey, Kite, how's it going? Kite is a member of Team Panda, so for those of you, there's a lot of new people inside of the stream tonight, so for those of you who are not familiar with Seriously Clara, she is a partnered streamer, fantastic streamer, fellow Vancouverite. Definitely done a lot to help me get started on Twitch and sort of find my way on this platform. So she has created a stream team which is oriented maybe not so much in terms of things like viewer count or something like that, but instead sort of a common theme, common attitude. And if you want one of the best examples of the kinds of attitudes that make Team Panda such an enjoyable team to be a part of and to watch, Kite260. I downgraded you. Kite. Oh, wait, he is 260. My God, I've been talking about No Scope 360 all week. Or sorry, all day. Okay, reset. Kite260 is an absolutely fantastic guy. Wonderful streamer, one of the people who does co-op streams fantastically. One of the nicest people that I've met on Twitch, and somebody who absolutely deserves your attention. So if you guys are not following him already, be sure to check him out. He is a wonderful streamer, somebody who's also very forgiving of my linguistic stumblings in his introduction, I hope. And somebody who's always been great with hosting, with stopping by, checking out the stream, flattering my intelligence, and all other such matters. So, sent your grandson to the dungeon pit because he tried to assassinate you. See, I just assassinate for the hell of it. Believe I am murdering my younger brother. Oh yeah, sorry, did I call him my son? Yeah. I am murdering my younger brother. Let's go back to the Holy Land. It's always very easy to give those kind words, Kite. You are a hell of a guy. My things are packed, everything is in order, and at the end of my journey, the Holy Land awaits. So we do have a claim on this. I mean, I'm not going to use it just because it's a waste of my army, but send everyone on house arrest. All right, lawless stretch of road, which means I'm going to lose money. I mean, the diplomacy's nice and all, but not enough for everybody. You finally arrived at Jerusalem. Passing by the Mount of Olives, you enter the city gate and are immediately overcome by a feeling of having made a truly epic journey. The city is filled with people of all creeds and colors. The air is heavy with smells of strange spices and foreign plants. You make your way through the throng of people and animals, excited by the knowledge that you are now close to the Via Dolorosa and other holy places. You plan also to visit the Church of the Nativity in Bethlehem, but first you need to find some place to stay. After all, you wouldn't have to want to be forced to sleep in a stable, would you? Did you need a co-conspirator for the plot to fire? Good question. I guess we'll find out in a couple. I mean, at 122 plot power, it's cool, but it's not. It's definitely not enough to take me through the end. So, we'll see. All right, the stories of other pilgrims spoke about how impressive this place is. Now you can see it with your own eyes, and you can only join in their praise. You're glad that you came here to one of Christianity's holy places. Let's just say you wanted a strong baby. All right, finally returned from the pilgrimage. It was rewarding and interesting journey. You do it all again. Still, it's good to be back home. So we got the pilgrim trait that we were looking for, and we will now wait the 4 years to gain our business focus. So we've never had somebody live long enough to actually claim that focus. Next thing I'm wanting to do is remove this become a court chaplain ambition. I'd like to think that this guy can accomplish a bit more in his life. I guess we'll find out whether or not that's true. Okay, so Pope has died, which means we do have an opportunity to switch them over. All right, so to answer your question about whether or not you need, okay, well, actually that doesn't answer anything, but we do have 4 co-conspirators now. So good news, my co-conspirator Fornan has let me know that Earl Selbach of Urmhurmain will soon have a tragic fall off the castle parapets. Fly, little bird, fly. I wonder if it worked. Success! It seems that little Earl Selbach has not yet learned how to fly. He died a quick and presumably painless death. Chicken for lunch today, I think. Okay. So, priorities. We will improve relations with the clergy. It's a good source of income. We will continue to fabricate claims just because that's, I mean, it's probably the best use of my chancellor right now. But we'll study technology, and we have a few more options now inside of our own realm. I think, let's go here. That was a particularly cold response. I like it. Man, I love looking at the forums for a game like this. It's all full of like talking about killing the Pope and sleeping with your sister and stuff like that. Not the brown guy? Shame. Fly, little bird. Splat. Scrambled eggs, my lord. Oh, here's the daughter I was looking for. My subjective opinions have always given me more praise than criticism. Who knew that being arbitrary could be so good? Gain 15 prestige. Alright, so let's forget this silly ambition to become court chaplain. Let's go for amassing wealth. I don't think I'm going to get it because, let's face it, 500 is pretty hard for me to accumulate, but certainly doesn't hurt, and will probably trigger some events that might be interesting. Right, it was 81. How does this game determine the nickname that you get? The Great, the Stammerer, the Usurper? I know it's based on what you do, but what about the Great? You started out as 1 p.m. formed the Kingdom of Finland, and why wasn't your guy given anything? So the Great will be given if you found the Holy Roman Empire. I believe if you pass a certain threshold in terms of your prestige, you'll also earn the title the Great. If you have certain traits, you will gain. You'll also gain titles. So I believe if you have the gluttonous trait, you'll become the Fat. If you have the lustful trait, you may become the Lewd, which is certainly a trait that I am always looking for, both in real life and outside. The photos of me posted online notwithstanding. But yeah, it's partially so. It's random in the sense that you are not guaranteed the title except in some special cases, such as founding the Holy Roman Empire. But in other senses too, like when you have those traits, like not every character who is lustful becomes the lewd. It's a probability of happening if you have the required traits. Okay, so because this is a daughter, right now under my current legal system, there's no way that they are going to inherit the kingdom. So at this point, hey, we got a genius. At this point, I'm just going to use this as an opportunity to do a little bit of diplomacy. So specifically, I'm interested in bishops. So yeah, I'll be able to bring Talon on side. So he is a detached priest, cruel, charitable, lustful, trusting, temperate. Exactly the kind of guy that you'd want your 6-year-old daughter to be trained under. Have fun, kiddo. People thought we weren't talking about a game. Everyone would think that we're serial killers. Yeah, I was going to say, I've had a couple of people talk to me after stream wondering if I am actually that worried about Muslims. The answer is no. I actually have many very good Muslim friends who I frequently talk about Crusader Kings 2 with. But obviously, if I can use a difference of religious opinion as a pretext for war, I am going to play that to the hilt. So for those of you who are confused about the difference between games and real life, I'm actually a surprisingly tolerant individual in real life. But this is the Middle Ages. This is 778. I don't mind blackmailing somebody because they're gay. But only in this game. Mecha Fanboy, how the devil are you doing, sir? You earned the nickname The Hammer by pulling the legs off mice at the ripe old age of 5. Sometimes people get the cruel, but they aren't. But they aren't actually cruel. You know another way to get the hammer? Very good Muslim friends. Good joke, Chalk. Ali, are you in here? Please get in here to defend my credentials. The adherents of the Orthodox faith have steadily dwindled to the point where the iconoclast believers are in the majority. This new state of affairs has reduced the Orthodox faith to a de facto heresy. All former Orthodox holy orders are now iconoclast. Crusader Kings, you go to war because they are the wrong religion. Alright, Mecha Fanboy, I'm worried now. Why only the most part? Anything that's not doing well is because of your own volition. Okay, well, excellent. EP Warrior of the Lord. Is it at all related to earning the title The Lewd? I know tolerant in game. You're not white, straight, Christian. See, this said, because there's an archive of all of my playthroughs, I am I'm never going to be able to run for public office. Everything I've said in this game is going to be come back to haunt me. All right, so in this case, I'm actually going to train my son under this character. The stats are generally a little bit more even. It sort of sucks that learning is so low. But these are a fairly decent set of stats, especially because this is the highest stewardship that I can get. And we're slowly closing in on our goal of 180. All right, for a long while now, you've not felt the presence of the Blessed Virgin in your thoughts. You are starting to wonder whether there really is any truth in the Bible, or if perhaps it is just an old book written by clever liars. I could say it must be so. The Blessed Virgin is dead, which will be a drag on my piety and increase to my intrigue, and it will hurt some of the church traits. This is generally not desirable to have, and in fact, in this particular case, I don't want to have it because I'm in a pretty precarious situation as far as my religious relationships are concerned. So in this case, I will say the blasphemous feelings will soon pass. I gain 30 piety, but the possibility of becoming stressed, which can actually be a killer in this game. Fortunately, I did not gain it, so we're good. You can try to get a kid to fly again. Yeah, because I haven't been terrible enough. All right, let's see who we can educate. In this case, again, we're going to, because it's a daughter, women don't matter in this game. This playthrough, at least. So we're just going to do what we can to improve diplomatic relations. Tough call, though, because we don't really have anybody who we need to... We really don't have anybody who need... we need to, like, bring on side. I think in this case, we'll just take the biggest negative that can... Okay, that's not going to change opinion. Huh. Okay, well, in that case, if it's not going to change opinions, then I will train them with somebody who's actually worthwhile. It's 20 years ago when you were streaming and you said, let's blackmail that gay noble. Does that make you a homophobe? Because it does. No Chalk will never become president in your country. Not specifically for that reason, though. Jugo Lama, how's it going? Let's start a school for flying children, for special little lords of Ireland. Joke's on the world when we get a kid to fly and we're going to have a whole new army. Get them to drop boiling oil from the sky. Once again, 20 years ago in a stream you said women don't matter, therefore sexist. You'll get a bunch of old dumbasses voting for you. Yeah, man, you need to worry about a world in which I can become president or prime minister. All right, Donegal claims that he would be a better court chaplain than Rectra. Actually true. He's my new court chaplain. And in this case, we don't need to win over... we don't need to win over the bishops anymore, so we will go back to building zeal. Vote Jugobama 2017. Jugalama, I'm doing okay. I'm definitely feeling the pressure from grad school, but I am here enjoying an extremely healthy viewership tonight. Thank you again, everybody who's stopping by, whether you're active inside of chat or you're just hanging out. Seeing a number like that is probably doesn't mean a whole lot for people who are familiar on Twitch, but definitely having something like this is something that gives me quite a bit of confidence, especially when I've been having a pretty infrequent streaming schedule with my studies. So whether you actively participate in chat, whether you just hang out, if you're not even watching the stream, because I know the video quality is not what it should be, or just listening in, all of these things are always greatly appreciated. So thanks a lot, guys. Let's just take a quick look here. I will eliminate the bot. And let me just catch up with chat before I unpause. So it can't be worse than our opinions, Jugo. Well, once we take away women's suffrage, being labeled as sexist might not be so bad. Dendars! EP Warrior the Lord is king of the universe. Jugo Lama, right? Actually. Scared of a world with flying children. They had flying pigs during the Middle Ages. Prime Minister, this is America, damn it. Doesn't matter if you're in Canada. Why is all the atheists in this game considered cynical? Oh, you know. Yeah, sorry guys, I'm banning the bots just so I can get all the good stuff from those links. In case you haven't figured out, these are not endorsed links from the channel. I have apparently been doing my husbandly duties with aplomb. My wife is stressed with the prospect of having another child. And 161 and we can finally create my duchy. I can't stop thinking of all those prisoners in my dungeon. They are at my complete mercy. What a thrill it would be to hurt them, to hear their sweet screams, and to see the panic in their eyes. Can resist the foul impulses, gain 10 piety, or guards, oil up the rack! 30% chance I will make him suffer, 30% chance he is wounded, 30% chance he is maimed for life, or 10% chance that he dies under torture. I will resist my foul impulses, for now. Litu, good to see you again. Actively trying to stare at the screen and survive this hangover you woke up with a while ago, so I'll be sure to speak extra loud for you. Minecraft Waffle will watch and listen to the stream for my silky voice. Is that gay? Well, you're going to say no homo just to be safe. Well, I mean, it's up to you to interpret your feelings as you want, but you are welcome. I will do my best not to blackmail you if you decide to go one way or the other on it, but I am still not accustomed to hearing compliments of my voice, so keep them coming, keep them coming. You'd hit that voice full homo. Clarification, some people lit pig's tail on fire and threw them at the enemy with a catapult, therefore making them fly. History's full of interesting facts, isn't it, Jugo Lama? Should have done it. A troubadour and his wife Trobaritz has arrived from Occitania. The performances range from vulgar satires to political servients and everything in between, including songs and poems of courtly love. They will be well paid, I assure you. 1 gold, which unfortunately keeps us from creating that title we were going to, but that's fine because we can work. Thanks, System Chalk. Much easier to hear you. You don't have any issues with loud sounds at the moment, though. All right. What about these loud sounds? High Chief of Dunlang and Mumu has created the High Chiefdom of Mumu. This just in, System Chalk, a popular streamer, admits to want to oil up the rack and attack his prisoners. Happy silky voice seamers are sociopath. The world will never know. Well, you know, I got nothing wrong with oiled racks. All right, so we get to do something a little bit more exciting now. So first thing that we could try and do would be to declare war on this Joker. Now, the drawback, of course, is they've got 425 troops, whereas we've got 680. Not the worst combination in the world, but still still a little problematic in terms... So, I mean, I could win the battle, but I would not necessarily have enough to siege their castle. It's important to remember that after any fight that I engage them in, I need to have over 250 troops left over. And so the gamble right now is a little bit more than I'm willing to bear. But it is worth keeping in mind that I've got 2 of my counselors working on something that could potentially raise warriors. Almost 25% chance from my steward. And then we've got an 18% chance from my chaplain. So not fantastic odds, but still credible ones. So if that event triggers, I might actually have enough to engage in the invasion. But right now, as always, we want to just sit back. We will enjoy the fruits of our labors. We apparently still cannot expel the Jewry. Oh, higher than Duke. I should have paid closer attention to that. Maybe we're just going to have to pay back the loan like normal people. Long live King Mumu. I mean, the other thing that we could do is just keep building up the market village. That might even be a little bit of a better option. I don't know. We'll decide when it comes. Okay, so this is my heir. I actually want to take a minute to think about this. I still think this is the best option, so. Soon. All right, so we've got somebody who thinks they are a better marshal. We got one with 16, and we have got one with 9. Absolutely. This is also particularly good because I will have a higher skilled marshal to sort of raise these levels. So it may be that their contributions are enough to push my army levies over the edge. We've got about 780 once I've raised enough. I mean, it's not exactly twice, but could be useful. And then we have Osridge on the other hand. They've got 400. Decisions. I think we will go for this one. So the reason I decided to do that was it's a smaller army that I need to contend with, first of all. Second of all, I basically have a permanent claim on this now that I have the duchy. So basically, I can decide to attack these guys whenever. If I successfully take over this territory, that's just another source of troops that I can use to eventually declare war on these guys. Now, do they have any allies? They do not. What's their son looking like? 3 years old. So, I mean, the other thing I might be able to do is just try and assassinate the leader and take out the kid under the regency. I mean, his regent is... Okay, actually, let's see if this pays off. So in this case, I'm basically just... I'm starting an assassination attempt. I don't have a whole lot of optimism about it. But basically, if I take this guy out, then whatever replacement they have in place is actually going to be fairly weak, and so that likely their levies are going to be even smaller. So I also have a little while to go in terms of raising my my own levies, but we'll see how far we can get with this. In the United States of we got technology options. All right, so I've lost my chancellor. So in the United States of Chalk, where patricide, fratricide, matricide, and sororicide are all perfectly legal as long as it means that you move up the ranks and gain more power. Everything else that helps you gain power is also acceptable. Am I the real Slim Shady? I am not. I am definitely very slim, not the brown guy. This is the one, maybe not so shady, definitely very slim. Gonna visit an old friend's stream. Have a good one. Okay, great to see you again, Mecha Fanboy. If you want to leave your friend's link, definitely go ahead. I certainly don't mind people getting some support. I have had a tremendously good fortune in having the audience that I do, and I think you guys are definitely interested in checking out new content. So maybe I'll extend that as well. So Mecha Fanboy's friend, obviously. But if any of you in chat are streamers and you would like to let people know about what you do, I'm always looking for more entertainment. I'm sure there's a lot of people inside here who'd love to check out your stream. Feel free to drop a link inside of chat and maybe just give us a quick description about what you do. I know normally streamers do not like that. I am not one of them, so feel free to do that right now. All right. I think we're just going to keep fabricating claims until we can find a better use for my chancellor. Nothing shady at all about throwing five-year-olds off castle parapets. Well, you know, these things happen. All right, so fortunately for me, we've got military organization. I think that can afford me a retinue now. 30. Nothing useful. Well, I don't have the money for it anyway. Give you a dope shout out to your stream that's never existed. Okay, so we've had two people who don't stream talk in chat. I can see that this is definitely a good use of of the invitation. Did my best. All right, so we've got more technology stolen from the Scots. It's always happy news. Ah, excellent. Okay, so I'm not entirely sure what changed this. Oh, you know what? It's because I have the duchy. So we've got tribal organization. So in this case, I can actually upgrade it. It's basically instantaneous just because it's all my family members who are running things right now. So I'm going to be moving up tribal organization, and eventually I'm also going to be moving up centralization just so I can increase my domain size. Eventually, when I do take Osridge, it is going to mean that I'm at my domain limit. But obviously, when we change centralization, we're going to be able to work around that. What are we looking at for troop strength? So 788 versus 400. Not the best odds in the world, but I actually think, let's just take a look at plot power. I think it might be worth it to just go for this. Well, no, you know what? He's 66, so let's see what happens. Hopefully he kicks the bucket soon. Endor's one of the best streams out there, better than that System Shock. Everything is better than that System Shock guy. We should have done a Merchant Republican. Oh my god, that would have been hilarious, EP War. Oh Lord. I think the drawback though is that Iceland is owned by... Oh, hang on. I thought they were owned by the Nords. All right, with your strong devotion to the Catholic faith, you have spent countless hours reading the Bible and thinking about the meaning and origin of the sacred words therein. There are some things that don't quite correspond to what the priests are saying in their sermons, however. I have no right to question them. 30 piety. Perhaps it should not be taken so literally after all. I lose the trait zealous. And the priests are charlatans. Gain 100 piety, embrace the Waldensian heresy, and gains religious studies, gaining me a bonus to learning. Well, as much as I would love to become a heretic, I think I am feeling the call of business. I will say I have no right to question them, and we will switch to a business focus so we can get the mad dollars flowing in, and I will switch my ambition to become the King of Ireland. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, I've never even bothered to, to look at them. But yeah, you're right. A merchant republic from Iceland would be pretty fun. Unless, of course, Norge just kills me, but... Mankind is unlovable. No more charity. All right. Oh, it's the redhead. So in this case, it is possible that they may actually become the king. So in this case, these are actually, again, not bad stats. Could be better in terms of military, but I'm willing to take the hit on that. And more importantly, I get my whoopin' child out of the house. Your steward comes to see you one afternoon. He explains that he has devised a plan to bring exotic goods by setting up a trade route with a foreign realm. This would, of course, require a sizable monetary investment, but the potential profits would also be great. Let's organize an expedition. The time has come to outfit a ship for a trading expedition. The harbor master shows you a large ship with a sizable cargo hold that would be perfect for the job, but it does come at a fairly hefty price. So I can spend 25 for the merchant ship. I can hire a crew of bandits to steal the ship, or on second thought, we really can't afford this. Let's hire the crew to steal the ship. Word is spread that you're planning a training expedition, and a group of priests have arrived at your court with a request. They are offering temple funds for the journey if you will allow them to come along on the journey. Of course, it will be an honor to have you with us. So gain the 5. It's time to set out on the trading expedition. Hopefully it will yield good profits. To foreign lands! The priests have been giving crew nervous glares for a couple of days now, and are today confronted you, voicing concerns about traveling with thieves and bandits. They say that the Catholic faithful should not consort with such people. Oh well, lose 15 piety. Name your next redhead child after you, because IRL you are neither not loved and redheaded. Oh, I feel really bad now, Minecraft Waffle. All right. Your expedition has finally reached the realm of Ulfr. Your steward asks you, what gift shall we bring forth as a token of friendship? In this case, I was thinking a dozen strong horses, but I don't want to go into debt for this. So let's do a chest with quality cloth from back home. Well, hang on. What's their opinion of... Ooh, negative 22. I will take the hit. At dinner, you notice Ulfir of Namdal's face growing red with annoyance as he glares at your steward for shoveling food with his bare hands. Please excuse him. I am trying to teach this... Oh, damn it. I'm going to lose the... Oh, wait. I'm still losing the Pope money anyway, so... Uncivilized. You were walking idly around the court of Ulfr when suddenly you hear a discussion increasing intensity around the corner. Turning the corner, you're surprised to see one of the priests from your expedition engaged in wild theological debate with a local noble. This could endanger the whole venture. This must be stopped. And after long hours negotiating and discussing possible terms of trade, you and Ulfr of Namdal seem to have reached a mutual understanding. This will be a profitable agreement. With the new trade route set up, you return with your first batch of goods and sell them off at a nice profit. The influx of new wares will also benefit the economy for a long period of time to come. Gain 100 gold, 150 prestige, and gain 30% city tax, 20% castle tax, 20% tribal tax. And we gain 2 stewardship and city vassal opinions. So a nice little bit of cash. Steward has brought in riches to the realm through his competent handling of the trading expedition and probably expects to be rewarded with a share of the wealth. So I can give him 4 wealth. I don't think it will recover the Catholic money. And 50% chance of gaining greedy. Honestly, for 4 gold, that is not worth it. So... All right, my underfunded sheriffs have allowed a large band of robbers to rise. That's really unfortunate that that triggered so quickly. But anyways. What's 49? I'm not sure what you're referring to, a Minecraft Waffle. Oh, it can only be good? I didn't know that, not the brown guy. Maybe I should stop spending so much money on all of this then. You like the Waldesians? They were founded around Italy, you believe. You know, I have no idea what they were other than the flavor description that they give inside of Crusader Kings 2. So, all right, you're presented with an opportunity to let everyone be reminded of your rulership. If you wish to mint new coins for your realm, there is a master of the craft that you can hire. Not only will the minting be exquisite, but it will be adorned with glorious portrait of you. Oh man, whatever. We'll mint coins for glory because I'm stupid. 49 is the number before 50. I mean, I've already got bandits running around my realm, so at this point, I'll just take the hit. But we really are just going to be sitting here and waiting, though, so... And this guy's as tenacious as a cockroach. Your efforts of gaining wealth grow and more determined. You sleep less and less, and sleeping is not a profitable behavior. I must have more gold. Gain the stressed trait. Still can't ransom this poor sucker. Yep. The charming redhead is back. All right. All of these options suck. Let's try a diplomatic option and see if I get... So if I give it to one of my bishops, I will get that Pope money back. Okay, so we've got a 15 Spy Master versus my 11, so we'll definitely take advantage of that. And again, we have a daughter, so in this case, we will do purely diplomatic education. Apparently my other bishop is not free, which seems a little strange, to be perfectly honest. But again, I mean, there's really no other political connection that I need to make, so... Please pray for me. Your cat just jumped on your balls and you can no longer feel them. I think you need a little bit more than prayer at that point, Minecraft Waffle. I believe your cat... I don't know if you had them fixed, but I believe it's revenge time. Turn Ireland into one large trade. That's the plan, Minecraft Waffle. It's going to take a while, but... your character is a real traitor to his country and should be executed. You'll show me. Yes, go. Yay, we're almost out of debt. Will I stream this tomorrow? Unlikely, EP Warrior the Lord. If I do stream tomorrow, it'll most likely be one of my variety games. Probably I would want to do something other than Shadowrun and CK2, because it's actually been a really long time since... Well, I mean, okay, I did a little bit of Frozen Synapse last time, but it has been a while since I've done something like that. I might actually do a reading stream. All right, the Merry Men of Dismuhumane? My sheriff came to me today looking harried and limping slightly. My lord, I fear... Oh my goodness, I've never had this event. I think this is Robin Hood. I fear I have grave news. A band of robbers and poachers calling themselves the Merry Men of Moo are on the loose in your forest. I have tried to find them, but alas to no avail. They chased me out of the forest several times, and the last time an arrow hit me straight in my buttocks. Bah! Sorry, go on. Gain 10 prestige, 60% chance the Merry Men make a move. 25% chance again deceitful, 40% chance they make a move, or just ignore them, and 25% chance. Alright, sorry, do go on. The harassing of a noble woman. An indignant but blushing woman stormed into my great hall. She told me about how a new band of green-clad men had overpowered her, taken her to their hideout, and forced her to yield her jewels and gold to them. Everything except a simple locket. They treated her courteously and even escorted her to the edge of the forest where when she handed over her jewelry. Her shining eyes, blushing cheeks, and furtive smile told me she enjoyed it. I gave her some gold and sent her away, or 25%. Okay, so I'm definitely going to say something must be done because that can give me ambitious. Ambitious is a fantastic trait to have as a ruler. Unfortunately, I did not get it, but okay. I cannot afford to pay my magistrates, and my debts to the lower classes are dangerously high. The peasants of, again, my province are completely disregarding my divine right to rule. So I believe this means that I'm going to be having a higher chance of local revolt risk, which will put a bit of a damper in terms of my military ambitions. Fortunately, we are going to be out of debt in a relatively short period of time, though. So It's a trap. My sheriff and I discussed everything that we should do about the outlaws and came up with two ideas. Every man and woman who has been harassed by the bandits, including the sheriff, have been told about the leader's skill with the bow. An archery contest might lure him out of his beloved forest. Another option would be to use a disguise to find the villain and to bring them into court. Not the brown guy. Thank you very much for hitting that follow button. It's been nice having you in chat as well. I always appreciate it when there's more people to interact with on the stream. It definitely makes the night go by a little bit quicker for me, and it also, I think, brings something for people to participate with. I definitely think that one of the things that makes Twitch most interesting is the interactive nature of the medium. So I'm glad you're enjoying yourself. Thank you very much for that show of support. Hope to see more of you around. What's a reading stream? So I've been going through Ernst Gombrich's Little History of the World. It's a history book designed for children, but it's very good for reading. If you look at the highlights in the stream, you'll get a bit of an idea of what's going on. But basically, it's just putting up an image on the screen and reading through this history book. It's not for everybody, but it's something that I think some people have enjoyed. Hi, Finding Body. So I'm not going to do too risky. We could do an archery contest. Clever disguise. Devil in disguise. I removed my beautiful fur-lined cloaks and reluctantly eased myself into a peasant's stinking clothes. A woolen tunic, a small hat, muddy boots, and completed my disguise. Now even my own ma wouldn't recognize me. We can say, let's see how this works. 33% chance I'm revealed, 33% chance that I stumble upon the merry men, and 33% chance that I meet a stranger in green. Or is this really befitting a high chief? Lose the trait deceitful and 25% chance I gain slothful. So let's see if this works. My stomach growled louder than the wolves howling in the distance. My search for the lawless men had taken me farther into the forest than I imagined that it would. Just a couple of hours had passed since I broke my fast, but it felt like days. I kept walking and reached a small brook. As I bent down for a drink, I heard laughter and faint voices of many people coming towards me. Before I could hide, they were upon me, and after thorough interrogation where I pretended to be naive or downright stupid, they allowed me to follow them to their camp. I said, hello? Or, I'll run away now, bye! So, outfoxed by the merry men, we will say hello. Yes, Oswald the Lucky. It does occasionally happen. Now and again, I will hit the streaming button, generally on Mondays and Fridays. Sometimes. My voice makes everything 20 times better? Nah, it's more like 19 and a half at most. You love the reading streams? I'm really surprised. So, I mean, I thought that these were better known than apparently they are. I really need to do another one. Actually, I need to make sure that I've already archived the right ones. But I do want to do another reading stream relatively soon, because I actually have a classmate who really likes falling asleep to them. So, by the way, that particular classmate is still an undergrad and is probably better than most of the master's students in the math and the econometrics class. She's absolutely amazing. So, it's nice. It's a nice little bit of reciprocity where if I can provide some sleeping material for reading, hopefully some of the economic knowledge will rub off. Yeah, so I mean, for those of you who haven't caught any of the reading streams, if you go to the highlights of the stream, there I have archived at least the first 3 or 4. There are some problems with it. Like there's a couple of points where I needed to tell people to basically shut up in the chat. And then this stuff like, follow notifications and me responding to chat. I need to get a little bit better at my narration. But overall, I've enjoyed doing them, and there seems to be a positive response. So I will try and remember to highlight the ones that I haven't already. Hopefully they haven't expired. I'm not sure what I'll do if they have. But yeah, we will do another reading stream relatively soon. Planning on falling asleep to the reading stream? Well, I mean, you can fall asleep to this if you want. But yeah, click on the highlights. A little history of the world part 1 is what you want to start off with. All right. Meet the Merry Men. As I approached their hideout, songs, laughter, and people talking reached my ears. It was more than a small village hiding beneath and up the trees rather than a lawless gang's lair. Women cooked, tended to the children, and babbled with the men who practiced their skills with bows and swords. A woman clothed in green and as skilled as any man with a bow caught my eye, but before I could approach her, I was introduced to their leader, who seemed restless and asked me hundreds of questions. In order to gain their trust, I had to prove myself to him and his gang. Say, really? Steal from the rich and give to the poor? Let's see what adventure we can find. Adventure ahead. This is enough! Arrest the leader of the Merry Men? Or this is as far as I dare take it. I mean, it's tempting to arrest. Let's see what adventure we can find. I insisted that the leader and I would go out looking for adventure together, without any of the other merry men. They grumbled a bit, and were a bit silenced by their leader, who thought that this was an excellent idea. As we walked down the road, we saw men clad in horse-skin leaning against a tree. I wanted to confront the horseman myself, but the stubborn leader did not listen. While he talked to horseman, I was attacked and tied to a tree by one of my own sheriffs. The leader of the merry men returned, saw me tied to the tree, and killed my sheriff before he cut up my ropes. So we can say, that was fun. Leave the merry men. Now what? Betray the merry men. See, the nice thing here is, at least for me, the spam is automatically being deleted. But, alright. Ambush! When the snores of the merry men echoed throughout the forest, I snuck back home and rallied my troops. I led them straight to the band of robbers and thieves. We caught every one of the bandits. The women and the children were spared and set free. I can kill them all, so that will gain me prestige, martial, intrigue, and general opinion. Or if their leader becomes my gamekeeper, I will spare their lives. Courtier named Robin appears in my court. So here's the question. I mean, are we really this terrible that will kill Robin Hood? Nah, we'll be merciful. The wedding between Lady Marian and Robin was held in the forest. Venison was served at the wedding feast, but I let it slip for now. Hang on. Yeah. The bridal couple had only eyes for each other, and when the fat monk started playing a slow, beautiful song about love, they joined hands and danced, still gazing into each other's eyes. They did not even notice when the song turned faster and the rest of the dancers followed the rhythm, but continued dancing slowly until the stars started sparkling out in the clear sky. So Robin has got a fantastic martial skill, and Marian's pretty good too. So I wish them good luck with all my heart. What a happy story. All right, so we're going to rearrange the council again, I think. So Robin becomes my new marshal. Get a new chaplain. Looks like we have hit our limits with our other roles, though. So, again, we will build zeal, and I think the best thing to do in this particular case would be to study technology still. So once we get a little bit more cash, we will raise an army and pay a visit to Osridge. But for the moment, we are, like the worst thing that could happen to me right now, even though I have a fairly healthy, or will have a fairly healthy army levy, I am also going to have to pay for it. So it doesn't hurt to have a few reserves in the back. Have a great night, Minecraft Waffle. And sorry, EP Warlord, I wasn't sure which option 2 you were referring to, but I think the stream delay is such that usually the story is over by the time I get some feedback. So Oswald the Lucky, we actually just started this. This is an intermission campaign because the HRE playthrough, unfortunately, I unpaused it. I stopped the stream. I kind of went off, and the game ran unpaused for a really long time. I had 2 rebellions, and then my ruler died, and so I have less than a fifth of the HRE that I originally had, and I'm not sure if the game is even worth trying to recover. So in this case here, so I didn't spend the whole night being salty at the game, I just figured I'd do something low stress and try and found an Irish merchant republic. I think it's unlikely that we're actually going to get to the point of founding the republic, but we're at least having a good time kind of playing something a little more small scale and seeing some new events and stuff like that. All right, a mysterious Jewish man has offered his services at your court. He is well versed in feudal court and intrigue and has a past both as a mercenary and a spy. If he can be trusted, he could very well prove to be an indisputable asset in your council. So, probably not really the roles that I needed, but... Oh... See, every time I've ever tried to debase the mints with less precious metals, I wind up like losing a bunch of cash. So in this case, I'm going to say no need for additional currencies. As much as I would love to do that, I seriously can't afford negative 100. That is going to take me forever to do. Was that my wife? No. When can I change my laws again? 786, although I don't believe I have the technology. No, yeah, I do. Huh. All right, well, I think we'll just twiddle our thumbs waiting for opportunities. I think once we max out our levies, it's time to move on Osridge. I don't think we're going to have any more opportunities to... Oop. There's never been a shortage of soldiers reinforcing the troops stationed there. Under a guidance, they believe fame and fortune await them. Excellent. And more technology coming in, which is also good. So in this case, we can upgrade. Again, in this case, I think we will go... What? Let's take a look at the composition of the army, actually. So we have got 364 light infantry. Yeah, so we're primarily light infantry. So in that case, we might as well put the technology into the forces we have the most of. Yeah, Oswald the Lucky, I was not happy when I saw it. I mean, in the end, I really do want to still do that playthrough because I think the fun of games like this are not necessarily when everything goes your way. But on the other hand, like it's important to remember that there was a lot of effort that went into creating the empire as it was, and we put quite a bit of time into pissing off the Byzantine Empire and the Umayyad Empire. So they're just going to be gobbling up provinces next to us. And it might just be that we wind up sitting there for 50 years while these larger empires just incorporate us into their realm. And at that point, you know, I either lose all of my titles or I just wind up being some minor count who's never going to wind up recovering. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. I need to spend some time with the save and sort of just figure out whether or not I can recover anything. I'll try to have that resolved for next week, but I do have a couple of midterms coming up, so I can't make any promises. But if nothing else, I will do another Charlemagne playthrough. I do actually want to go through a full, proper Charlemagne run. But in this case here, we're just going to do something a little bit more relaxing. All right, the stubborn Baron of Deshumane is really getting on my nerves. My wife sensed irritation and offered to give me advice on the matter. Her diplomatic skill has saved me many times before. Yes, we definitely can use lower revolt risk. hopefully these start going away because we've got a positive balance. As far as my army levies, they're not going to get any better. So the question is whether or not I use my existing forces or I wait for one of these events to trigger. So again, we've got about 25% chance yearly. The court chaplain has a very good chance of raising zealots. But the question is, do I really want to take it? All right. Let's see if we can find some religious instruction. We cannot. So who hates me? You'll do. I can't believe this guy's still... Oh, hang on. Kids alive, 300. Yes, please. So it's basically just because it's a kid and he has got almost nothing as far as his army levies are concerned. So we will combine our troops into one big ugly group. It would be great if I could take them while their morale is low, but we don't want to go too crazy. And in this case here, as nice as it would be to put Robin Hood sort of on the front lines, I am not quite prepared to risk that. So here we will... Oop. What I want to do is make sure I can catch them. Okay, that's pretty much a rout. We only lost 49 guys, so we will cross over. We need to make sure we absolutely eliminate their military, otherwise that's going to cause us problems later. And now this is ours for the taking. Ireland is your favorite starting place? That's great. And by the way, welcome, Wayne Later. I sort of did like a sort of a toy playthrough as Ireland, just kind of to kick the tires and sort of see what it was like to play a tribal one. But in this case, this is kind of the first serious playthrough I've done as Ireland. We specifically have the intention of creating a merchant republic. But I don't think we're going to be able to get that accomplished on this playthrough. But with that in mind, I'm having some fun with this. I don't know if you were here to hear what happened to the big HRE playthrough that we were doing, but I unfortunately left the game off pause, and I wound up losing pretty much everything but a fifth of my existing territory. So not the finest moment. Have a great night, EP Warrior the Lord. Thanks a lot for stopping by, being so active in chat. As always, I know we're talking about any other future streaming plans. I'd definitely like to get some streaming done over the weekend, seeing as it is a long weekend in Canada. As always, feel free to check Twitter, and I will usually announce stuff like that. I'm definitely inclined towards doing, at the very least, a reading stream, but of course we did have the donation of a game today, which Endors is claiming was Akadak, but I think he can probably take a bow himself for that one. But we definitely have no shortage of things that we can do for extra streams, and it's just a question of me coming up with the correct balance between my studies and my streaming habits. So I will do my best to give you an answer as soon as I can for that. Didn't I autosave? Yes, Waylanator, but I do play as Iron Man. So in this case, any autosave is gonna put the game into the state that I didn't want it to be in. All right, more technology from Scotland. Okay, excellent. Also with the martial ability, we got rid of some of the problems. So we've got incompetent ruler, but diplomacy advice, which are basically canceling each other out. So we're more or less back into the state that we were, and we're going to add at least one more country to the holdings. So, and 2 weak claims, but I see absolutely no... Oh! Looks like Carloman wound up being the winner this time around. Four deer in the front yard. Weird. All right, so that was a fairly easy war. Again, just another example in terms of playing the game in a way that you maximize the opportunities that you can. We sort of, we're a fairly young ruler, right? 36 is enough time to sort of get what you need taken care of. We had this claim. Now notice we didn't get the title. The reason for that, let me just double check what the duchy is. Leinster. Let me just take a minute and bring it up. So in this case, you need 51% of a realm. If it's 2, that basically means you need to own everything. Now, of course, it also costs 126 wealth, so it's not like we're going to be able to get that anytime soon. But in this case here, I had a choice between sort of invading these two places. I always have the option on this because I have the duchy. And then we did wind up going for the claim just because we had it available at the time. And it paid off because it was an old ruler. We were able to take advantage of his death and the weaker son. Whereas this guy is a fine strapping, he's devil possessed and depressed. So maybe we do want to take advantage of it. Not at the moment, of course, because we have some, actually, we didn't really lose that many people. I don't really want to go to war with this though. So we'll sit back. I think the thing that we'll do is if we have an event trigger that gives us some extra troops, then we'll take this to the last territory in the duchy. But I don't see a huge advantage to. I mean, basically, that's only a difference of about 250 troops, and we're going to need that for the garrison. So there's just too much of a chance that we won't have enough to lay siege to the territory, which basically means we lose. So I think we'll wait for a better opportunity. The elusive white stack. Oh, you guys. No prestige from two dough and little ones. Somebody just followed. Why can't I see the message? Waylinator, thank you very much for hitting that follow button. You guys have been really, really great for follows tonight. We were at 419 last stream, so that translates to about 8 follows since the last time we streamed. That is definitely numbers that I am not used to seeing. So guys, again, I know I said it before in the cast, but that does not change the impact and how grateful I am for the support you guys are showing. It means quite a bit. Especially because I think Crusader Kings is a little bit underrepresented on streams. So it's definitely great that you guys are here. I don't know if it may be for me, it may be for the game, but whatever it is, I really appreciate you guys coming out and sharing this unique title. Also, you guys are absolutely fantastic to have inside of chat. I am tremendously amused by the things that I've been reading in here. The church is a greedy thing who always needs more alms, but I have deep pockets and it's for a good cause. Thinner wallet, but thicker soul. 1 gold. All right, a group of hedge knights have come to visit Mumu. I think I already have Gregarious, don't I? No, I don't. So we will welcome them with a lavish feast, gain 10 prestige, Gregarious at the cost of almost 2 gold. And then we'll pay for the medication and send them on their way because there's few opportunities. Well, okay, it's not few, it happens a reasonable amount. But basically the idea here is that you are not guaranteed opportunities to convert gold into prestige or piety. So if you can take the opportunity, it's always good to. At some point, I should also consider upgrading my market village, but 73 gold is a fairly high amount. All right, so my daughter became 16, which means it's time to marry her off to somebody. Actually, marrying her off to a Carling would be a good idea. Hopefully it'll be good for some... Are you kidding me? Yes, you with the 2,500 troops are calling on my lowly 700 troops to help you out with your Frankian revolt. Go nuts, dude. All right. I'm continuing to make babies because this is the only thing that you can do in the Middle Ages. I really do eventually want to get rid of this money lending, but I have a feeling that we're basically just going to wait to become king and we will expel the Jewry, and that's how we're going to end this. All right, so again, because it's a daughter, we don't need to worry about them inheriting the kingdom. I should actually explain the law change that I did a little bit earlier, but I'll do that in a second. So in this case, we're sort of looking for the best opportunities that we have as far as our income options are concerned. Duncan is in our pocket. We could turn him into an anti-pope if we want, but that is a fantastic way for me to lose all of my territory. So instead, what we're going to do is we're going to see Gormican or Petiar, and of course I have butchered these pronunciations. I hope nobody is from Ireland here. So let's just take a look and see what opportunities we have for education. And again, this is just because it's a daughter who's not going to inherit the kingdom. This is just a purely political move to try and get as much money in the coffers as I can. So I will send her to the diligent, charitable, arbitrary, deceitful, temperate bishop. And looks like that wasn't actually a change of opinion anyway, so I kind of just wasted a whole bunch of time there. All right, I'm not crazy about 9 stewardship, but better than nothing. And these weak claims mean absolutely nothing. I mean, I could try and claim Dax, but they are an ally, and they are bigger than me, so... And I don't actually get to keep the territory if I support it. So. Ah, what a beautiful wedding. Hey, so I need your troops. Yeah, exactly. All right, so this guy's levied up for some reason. Oh, he's at war with Scotland. Well, sounds like an opportunity. I think I'll just wait a little bit longer. Oh, he's no longer at war with Scotland. Well, that was quick. All right, so another event triggered as far as troop size. Still 886, so... Look at that mustache. Okay, at this point we're looking... I mean, so the best would be... something that gives me an alliance. Like a meaningful alliance. So we've got Dorset and Dunbar. I'd have to wait a really long time for that too. I think in this case we will wait. Oh, but she's a hunchback. Never mind. You got to keep the breeding pure. Oh, but there's a prestige loss. That works. So it's not really an alliance that I'm crazy about. I don't think Venice is really going to be helping me out with anything, but... we're in fairly good... I think we're in fairly good shape still. I think it's really just a question in terms of what marriages are available when my heir becomes of age. Those are the ones I'm a little bit more interested in. And hopefully we raise our levies sooner rather than later. I'm not quite sure what the holdup is. Okay, more daughters to marry off. No alliances, it looks like, though, which is a bit of a shame. So maybe we can go by... I'm a little curious here if we can go by rank. Why did I choose realm? Just a barona. No. Not quite at the point where I'm going to marry him off to a... Well, I mean, it's Carling, so it'll just be more prestige for the family. It just doesn't translate to anything for me, so let's just get that daughter out of the house. Sorry, guys. I know this isn't the most stunning commentary that I can be giving, but we're sort of in a holding pattern until we can do something a little more meaningful. At the moment, I'm actually just waiting on my my levies. It's a good number. It's just I'd rather have the full 886. Although this math, oh no, it is adding up. Never mind. Okay, being around Kalan makes me feel calm and satisfied. The contentedness of him is contagious, and the world's troubles seem less frightening. I feel less stressed. Good news for me. Slightly more longevity. What about these chuckleheads? How's their... So, I mean, still at full levies. I mean, theoretically, I can take them on. I don't see a huge reason to risk all of it, especially when I've got another 90 troops on my way. I just really wish they'd train faster. The other thing I could potentially do is try and win over some of these other bishops. I think it's a little bit better than trying to wait for these zealots. Although, I mean, it is a somewhat high probability that'll happen. But I think in this case, let's just make some popish friends. Okay, the peasants are slowly starting to respect my rule again, and I should never let the treasury go negative. Yeah, I know. All right, another trigger in terms of the levy size. So I think this might... Well, no. We're getting close, damn it, but I'm not quite ready to pull the trigger. I don't feel too well. Something is wrong with me. I'm burning up with fever, my nose is running, and my head feels as if someone is banging something hard against it. Please kill me. But don't actually. I like this guy. And he's almost at 1,000 prestige. Alright, and levies went down for some reason, which is mildly disturbing. So again, even though there's not a whole lot happening in the game right now, we are on our way to... Oh, it's probably because I was sick. So basically, the big advantage here is we are slowly rebuilding our treasury. We are getting stronger militarily. So in this case, it means that we're going to get... we're going to wind up getting a little bit more in terms of... how do I put this? Like, we're basically going to have a stronger army, and there's the possibility that some event triggers that hurts them. So, again, if you're used to kind of a game just running by, you know, whenever, you... I guess, like, you'll get impatient. You might be tempted to trigger the war faster than you can, but there's really no... Like, there was no drawback to me just hanging out. So, in this particular case, I think... sorry, I'll switch on to my wives now. In this case, I'm not crazy about something like stutter, but in this case here, a 20 martial skill is very hard to pass up, especially because the wife's traits do actually help out the husband, and this is my heir. So, in this case, we will... Wife is slightly older than me, but relative of king, which means we also potentially gain a claim on Scotland. And, of course, they can start making babies as soon as possible, which is more important. All right, do I really want 10 gold? I think 25 prestige is worth more. I know that's a little contrary to how I normally been doing things, but 10 gold isn't quite enough at this point for me to give up prestige. Notice it did pay off to move my chaplain. We're back in the money as far as our local bishop is concerned. So now we'll head to Osridge. And for some reason, I didn't reassign my spot. Oh, it's because we have surpassed Scotland technologically. So let's go to... They're all capitals. Nope, nope. No, the genes! Yeah. Stutters aren't genetic. It's come to my attention that Chancellor of these Irish names has bribed and threatened his way through my domain, trying to get enough people to recognize a claim on my title that he has fabricated for his liege. Okay, well, them's fighting words. Ooh, he's got more troops. Okay, honestly, for 50 troops difference, let's just kick this off. It's kind of important to make sure that we have everybody combined before we do anything too crazy. The other thing I want to see... So we're also good. We don't need to worry about any... we also don't need to worry about any river crossings. What we do need to worry about, though, is whether or not these guys will arrive on time. So they are going to... Okay, I think we're actually going to sit and wait for them. This is a little bit dangerous to do because they do technically outnumber me here. But these guys should arrive in fairly good time. So they arrive on the 7th. So basically there's 5 days of fighting at a small disadvantage. Let's make sure that we've got sort of the best commanders that we can. And we will hope for the best because my ruler is there. Hey! And we've got allies. Alright, so it looks like they're turning around and heading to Osridge instead, which is fine because that gives me an opportunity to combine my armies. And we'll then take 900 screaming Irishmen to finish the job. Hey, Miss Cupcake, how's it going? Let's turn down the speed a little bit. Okay, so it looks like we have got rivals in here. Fortunately, though, they are in Wales, so we should be able to punch them before they become a problem. Yeah, and Scotland is going to be doing terrible, terrible things to them in a minute. Again, vassals are mad about me raising my levies, but I'm not too worried about that because this should be a fairly short... fairly short encounter. Now, I did get wounded in the thick of battle, though, which is not fantastic. But I'll probably get like a wicked scar to show all the chicks, right? I'm doing all right, Miss Cupcake. I'm a little, I don't know, feeling a little manic in terms of my commentary, but I can live with that. Okay, this is a bit of a tough call. They're going to head to Osridge. They'll arrive on September the 10th. I will get there on September the 18th. So basically, I'm kind of committed. I hope my Scottish allies come in time. I mean, again, I'm still going to steamroll over them because I've got more troops. But it'd be nice if we had slightly better odds. We are losing this fight, so hopefully the Scots arrive, and yes, they do. We are still losing this fight. Alright, Scots saved the day. So, you know, as an alternative, imagine none of my allies showed up. Suddenly, this campaign is looking a lot worse. Yeah, I don't know, Miss Cupcake. I kind of feel like I've been all over the place. So I could read the ingredients off a cereal box and I would gladly listen. Now I kind of wish I had cereal in the apartment. All right, so my son thinks he is a better spy master, and he is right. Unfortunately, this means I'm going to be putting my heir into dangerous territory. But, you know, you only YOLO once. So, I mean, technically I could just drop my troops now, and we would still finish off the siege. But at this point here, I kind of want to throw everything into the siege, get it over with as soon as I can, and you know, and then we're just done with it. We are still bringing in a positive balance, if only a very minor one. But my steward Donegal tells me that efforts of praising my name and deeds have been met with great success. A small army of warriors have converged and are ready to serve me. You just need to make sure they have someone to fight within a year, lest they become troublesome. The old wound is finally healed, leaving a pretty grotesque scar behind. Ew. Scar gains me a small amount of prestige. So, I mean, these troops are not going to mean the difference in the war right now, but I might as well throw them into the existing army. Hopefully it'll make the siege... I don't know if it actually makes the siege go a little bit faster. It feels like it does. And then, of course, we just disband them. You're going to pretend that I didn't just Inception YOLO? Oh, you know what? No point in dragging this out more than it needs to be. We'll offer peace. And we have got our full de jure realm now. And we don't need these special event troops anymore. All right, so what did we just accomplish? With this strategy, so the drawback, of course, is that we still have this loan hanging over our heads. But the advantage of the way that we did things, the way that we did, was we got the second territory, which allowed us to create the duchy. Following the creation of the duchy, we made a claim on Osridge instead of... oh, God. These names. The western part of Ireland. So in this case here, you know, we had the option of using the casus belli or ignoring it and gaining a little bit of piety. We ultimately took it just because we were in a good position to claim it. Now we're basically at the limits of our domain size. Oh, actually, this is surprising. I thought we were going to wind up taking the territory for ourselves. I think I'm going to try killing this guy and seeing if I can maybe inherit some of his territory. So, I mean, the big challenge is that we don't have an immediate answer to how do we pay back this big loan. But you can see that we originally began with about 200 or 300 troops in the bottom part, whereas now, with our current format, we've got about 900 or so troops to our name. Compared to our neighbors, you know, we've got people with 500. We've got, what's this guy, 562, and then finally Connaught. Connaught is actually the one that we need to worry about. We might maybe want to marry into that family if we can. How is it possible that they have this many troops? Ah, an event. So normally they'd only be sitting on 400. So actually that's a really good argument for me to take these guys on next. But basically, it's kind of, we're looking for as many opportunities as we can to create duchies and sort of create these CBs as systematically as we can. So somebody was asking a little bit before, you know, how this is from a couple of streams ago, but how do you wind up engaging in conquest? How do you wind up taking over places? It feels like it takes a really long time. Well, you know, in some sense, it's not fast. I mean, we did begin in 769. We're now in 791. We're on the third generation. So it's certainly not it's not the speediest thing that we've done. But if you think about it, right, short of the fact that this guy has got event spawn troops, we are kind of the big, the big power player in this region. In fact, one thing that I could do if I didn't want to create the second duchy right away, I could actually hold off on making a claim on this territory, and I'd have a little bit of a buffer zone between me and Wales. I'm not going to do it because it's actually nice to have a second duchy. But you can sort of see how this winds up working, right? We only actually needed to create a CB on 2 different counties, and yet we're now at our... Well, we would be if we actually wind up taking this title, but we're basically near our limit, and we haven't even raised centralization or anything like that yet. All right, I got to catch up on chat. You're supposed to siege every holding, burn them to the ground, spread salt into the ground. I'm going to pass that to... Eat a Snickers. Does York normally own those Scottish countries? Good question. If they did, it's very early, but I'm gonna guess the de jure kingdoms indicate that apparently Northumberland has been going ham. Sorry, Northumbria, not Umberland. But they're nothing compared to the might of Moo. All right, guys. So I am incredibly encouraged by the numbers that I am seeing in stream tonight, and especially the fact that it has been so consistent. I know I got a little bit of a later start tonight, so I am technically ending the cast about 45 minutes, I think, earlier than I normally do. But it has been a long day for me. I have got some work that I still need to do tonight, so I think I am going to end on a high note and call it for here. However, I would like to take a minute and host somebody for you because, as always, you guys are absolutely fantastic to hang out with, and I would love to pass on the love to some other streamers. And I think this would be a great opportunity. Hang on. I thought somebody was streaming who doesn't seem to be, so I've got a couple of other options here, but I would like to just... I had someone specifically in mind that I thought you guys would enjoy. And I've got other people in mind who I would like to, who I can show you as well. But if you can hang around for a little bit, they will not be a Crusader Kings 2 player because, as we all know, that's a game that's not as well streamed as it should be. But you know what? Let's. Okay, so I thought Clara might be streaming. Clara is the one who hosts Team Panda. But her boyfriend is streaming, and it's W. Shand. It's Check the Deaths. So for those of you not familiar with Check the Deaths, he tends to get very drunk and play Resident Evil 3. You get, if you decide to hang out, if he dies during the game, or I believe if somebody does some kind of a donation event or something like that, he has a few different ways in which this gets generated. You can potentially win games. In fact, I won the DLC for Endless Legend, which will wind up being played on stream sometime in future. So there is a bit of an incentive for you to hang out as well. But more importantly, Shand is probably one of the most entertaining streamers on Twitch. He is somebody I absolutely love watching. If you're not following him already, I think you're crazy. But let's host him. There is definitely something that we're going to spam inside of chat. I'll type that in there, and you'll probably see it long before you hear me say that. And while I type it up, I will thank you all for hanging out tonight. So just 1 second while I type this out. All right, so there is his link. I will be hosting him a little bit in a second. If you want to spam inside of chat, we're tired of system talk, heard this place was better. I'm going to take a minute and just thank some of the names inside here. Sir Wedgie, thank you very much for hanging out. Miss Cuppycake, Finding Bonnie, Endors 12, Oswald the Lucky, Green G4, sorry, Green Gaming. Who else do we have here? All right, I'm seeing a lot of the same name over and over again. Guys, again, there are so many people inside of the stream right now. I am sorry to cut it at the time that it is. It is quite late for me, though. It's probably late for a lot of you. as well. It's great to have you all in chat. There's so many follows today. There was a lot to talk about. I will be saving this game. We will probably return to it at some point in the future. I still need to decide what we're going to do with the HRE playthrough. But that is it for tonight. Please hang out, stop by Shan's chat, drop that spam inside of his channel, and I'll probably hang around for a little while and talk to you guys. So, and Florida Boy 727 catching me at the last second there. All right, have a great one, guys. We'll see you on Monday at the latest.